All right. We're here again, man.
I tried putting it again, but okay. I'm sorry.
That's right.
Sorry for
I think we're at episode 71 now.
71.
Yes. Welcome you guys to episode 71 of On the Record Podcast. I am DJ Intense, your host with the most. And to my right, I have Said. What's up, brother?
It's been a rough week, to say the least, man. It's been a whole week of fucking kids.
Oh, here you go, starting already, man. More edits coming. I'm going to start taxing you.
By all means, go ahead, man.
All right.
We just got to have a swear counter.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah.
Every one you drop, I'm like, hit $1.
Nah, but when we get the visuals, probably got to have a swear counter.
Oh, yeah.
Steady swear counter.
One episode 164. There you go. New world record.
Just email it to Guinness, be like, oh, is this a record?
Yami Sam Jackson, like, what was his record?
I don't know. And then to his left, I have What's Up, King?
Nah, but I bet you Ozzy Osbourne probably got the record.
Who?
Ozzy Osbourne back in the day? For sure. Oh, my God.
Say hello to people.
Hello, everybody. Hello, internet. Hello, first
TikTok
and last time listeners. Hello, TikTok. Even though I got some beef with y'all.
We did. Oh yeah.
Yes.
We don't get us kicked off the TikTok.
We'll talk about that later.
Yeah. We'll
Got
keep mom about
Got
that.
you.
And then our guest for the evening is no other than Bro Joe Death Punch. What's up, brother?
What's up? Oh, I'm getting applause on a podcast. That's nice. Yeah, I'm bringing along our lovely. I don't know. See if we can see what the comments that are coming in live on the TikTok. Although for the TikTok, this is just a prop at this point for the Tik. They can't hear anything on the. They'll hear whatever's in the ambiance of the room. Hopefully, that's not destroying any of the audio for it.
I have the filter for the podcast, so I can edit the fan out because it's quite hot in here.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Oh, we got a hey from somebody.
Oh, hello to you too.
Hello.
I think it's a Chris.
The love.
I gotta look sideways. I'll try next time to make it live that goes through a computer and not just my phone.
Yep, that's what's Roe versus Wade got us. Everybody looking sideways at that.
My God!
like these mofos, man.
Before we go into it, let's talk about Bro Joe Death Punch. Why don't we? You know what I'm saying? You're the guest of the show.
Oh.
I've mentioned you on the podcast before. For the stuff that you talked about, can you tell? Let's start from the beginning. What is it you do?
What does that do? I do nothing. I just tell people I do things. I go to people on the street and at the gym and tell them I'm a lawyer, and then I go ahead and get up on stage and tell people I tell jokes, and that's it. That's all I do is I lie to people. It's all I'm not anything. I'm a practicing lawyer in New York and New Jersey. Oh, I practice in New Jersey. I don't want to practice anywhere in New York. Not that there's any problems with New York. It's a great state. I'm also I do stand-up comedy in New York. I practice comedy in New York. You guys want to come check that out? Usually behind a Caribbean restaurant. Like that's kind of the weirdness of where I'm at right
the
now.
oxtail, I get it.
Yeah. Oh, dude, the oxtail's great there. Also the pork belly, really good spot called Diddy's. Go check that out. We're plugging Diddy's right now.
Shout out to Diddy's
over in Suffern. Other than that, I talk a lot more. I used to talk a lot more football. I think, and I'm actually on two shows that I don't produce that talk football. So I guess I still talk football.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I talk. I have a lot of opinions. That's about the extent of it. I more recently, I've been trying to delve more into the. You were saying before, Dan Snyder. Yeah. I've talked about DeShaun Watson quite a bit on my stuff.
Oh dear God.
Dude, it's hours and hours of like reading through documents of like, why am I doing this?
He's the guy that transcribes all the legal mumbo jumbo.
So you don't have to.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
It takes one for the team, if you will.
Yeah. So a lot of times when you hear me speak my information, I get it through him.
And
whether directly or indirectly.
And that's appreciated because we need to make sure that our facts are on point.
Exactly.
Well, I don't, so I don't know why you need to make sure your facts are on point. Some of them aren't even masseuses. Some of it's like flight attendant, nail stylist.
See, I told you.
You work at a gym? Go ahead, give me a massage. You have a whole staff, sir. Why are you doing this?
I want to wait till we get there.
So. Oh, dear God, man. That dude, man, excuse my language. That's number
That's
two.
Are we off the TikTok now?
No. So you practice laws. How long you been practicing law for?
7 years now. I don't know how that happened.
Okay.
That one sneaks up on you because it's like it goes quick once you get done with the schooling, and then all of a sudden you're in the process of your life. It doesn't feel like 7 years. It doesn't feel like I'm really a lawyer anymore. It feels like it happened. I'm like, I'm a lawyer, and then like a couple years go by, and you're doing your stuff, and you're like, I'm still a lawyer? How'd this happen?
Mhm.
Like, I feel some days like I woke up one day and I passed the bar and I'm like, when did that, is that a different person?
So are you close or have you passed the $10,000 theory?
What? I passed New York and New Jersey like 7 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah, that was.
So he
Now my brain's gone. It feels like it's now. If I had to pass a bar right now, I would just be like, it just has to be the bar down the corner. That's about the extent of it. I feel like as I've gotten, I feel like the COVID brain kicked in pretty hard.
behind Kev.
no, you want to crack that with Bally, don't you?
Bro, it's just been sitting there being
So
seasoned.
what?
Being seasoned.
Let it marinate.
How much longer?
Just let it marinate, bro. Don't worry about it. One of these, listen, when we go, we're gonna crack it open.
Okay.
All right. So you practice law.
I'll bring back the Google.
What
reviews.
made you want to be a lawyer?
I still don't know if I want to be a lawyer. Where are we going with this?
Wait, what do you mean? You get paid? You get paid?
I'm not getting paid big lawyer money. I have to clarify this. I run my own practice and I do mostly real estate. Generally speaking, that's not big lawyer money. That's
you get a
like
cut though when you do the deals, though, right?
oh no. When you do real estate, it's mostly a flat fee for the lawyer.
Okay.
I don't make percentages. I wish I made percentages. That would
Okay.
that would make it probably lucrative and more. That's what the realtors get. I don't make as much as realtors. That's how weird it is. On a real estate deal, don't make as much as realtors.
Really?
Mm.
Yeah. They make way more money than I
Even though
do.
you're the one who's structuring the contracts and make sure everybody's.
I would probably make more money. I still wouldn't make more than the realtors in New York, but I would probably make more money if I did real estate in New York.
Mhm.
Because usually they're charging a little bit more on their retainers. But New Jersey, it's a very you're capping out at maybe 1,500 a deal, and
Wow.
that's
still good.
that's good. But when you look at it's like 3 months of work.
Oh
Yeah, you're not like you got to realize it's not. You're 15, and I don't make 1,500. I'm saying you cap out as a
Yeah,
real estate attorney
yeah.
as 1,500 a deal. I'm not saying I make 1,500 a deal. Mine's generally a lot lower than that because I am who I am, and I'm
Yeah.
like, you know me, I'm not really good at money with that. So I'm not really good at. I'm not. I got into this going like I'm gonna be running my own business, but then I'm like if I was running a different kind of business, I'd probably be really good. Running a business as somebody who's doing things where it's like not like I'm not selling a product where I'm like
Yeah.
giving you a
Mhm.
service, but like to me, like it's like if I'm talking to you right now, like if you were to ask me an opinion right now on like say Roe v. Wade, like to a degree, that's what lawyers charge for is literally what they like going ahead and having a conversation. It's a weird like how lawyers charge is basically 3 different ways, right? Hourly, which is basically like, hey, somebody hits you up for your opinion,
Mhm.
and you start charging them from like the second they call
Yeah.
you. At like it becomes that like roulette wheel
Yeah.
of like I'm making money right now. I know lawyers who do that.
Yeah.
I'm not good at the hourly thing because I just feel like wrong. Like I feel like again, like I'm very.
Morality is-
You know me, I'm very casual. I'll sit
Yeah,
there and have a
yeah,
conversation
yeah,
with you
yeah.
for 2 hours.
Yeah.
I don't feel like charging somebody because I like having conversations. Like every conversation with me becomes a podcast. So like we'll run into each other at the gym and it'll be 2 hours later. I'm like, all right, well, some lawyers would have charged for this time, but I don't do that.
I'm still here.
But I think that approach might get you closer to that next point. Like what you're saying. Like I feel like because I was about to mention. I'm sure some people will get to it like like an entertainment lawyer. I mean, where you just casually advising them something, and like, you know what, that makes sense.
But even
You
those
know?
people charge hourly. Like
Really?
the ones who don't charge hourly are generally people who do flat fees, which is what I do, or you charge a percentage, which is what like personal injury, workers' comp, generally those cases do, and those are usually a third. Which like I don't do personal injury because there's a amount of investment that you have to do as far as that goes. Also, I haven't done personal injury in about 5 years. So nowadays I usually just like refer those cases out, which has its own business elements to it. But like generally speaking, I don't do personal injury because it's not like you have to build your practice around personal injury.
Yeah.
You have to build your practice around, at least in theory, going to trial. And I've now built my practice away from going to trial more towards doing transactional stuff, doing stuff for like, businesses, LLCs, real estate.
He helped set this one up.
Yeah. So things like that where I'm more
Nice.
helping people out and trying to prevent them from having to go to litigation, which is generally what I like doing, is saying, hey, let's try to make sure you don't get sued is kind of like what I like.
So
Yeah.
so let's just say Jay-Z FaceTimed you right now about something like law related. You would have charged him about that one?
I mean, like, if it's Jay-Z and he's like, hey, I want you to be my personal in-house counsel, Go ahead. I don't know how I feel like he could hire better lawyers than me. That's all I'm going to say. I'm sure there are better lawyers than Walter, everybody.
Let's just say like you both have a mutual friend, and that mutual friend decided to be, oh yeah, I got a guy. His name is Walter. You should hit him up, and you pass your contact along.
Listen, if they're a millionaire and they want to pay me to be their in-house counsel like that, I'll definitely do it for them.
Okay.
I think there are better lawyers they could hire than me.
I just needed to know.
If that's where we're at, where I get one client who's just, I'm going to pay you to be my go-to backup guy to be like, hey, I just got to run this by you real quick. You got to answer calls at 3:00 in the morning. Fine, I'll take that guy.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think that's generally where I'm going in my life. I don't think Tommy Hilfiger's calling up my phone being like, Walter, random real estate attorney from New Jersey who's done I've done some litigation. I've done traffic cases. I've tried one case and won it. Weird brag, because I was not the reason why we won that case. That's just proof. That's just proof that facts win cases, not proof that Walter's a good lawyer.
So basically,
this Walter's probably a better lawyer than this Walter right now. I am of the opinion that I'm a much better giving you being like, hey, I don't want. Here's the thing. The thing with trying cases, you have to know the rules of evidence. It's very time consuming. Mm-hmm. It depends on the type of cases. I did like doing it. It's also there's an anxiety to it. Okay. And that's what pushed me out of that. It was the anxiety of dealing with I hated getting yelled at by prosecutors. Mm-hmm. I hated feeling like I was the person who did you guys watch the Johnny Depp trial?
Yeah. Yes. We spoke about it on the podcast too as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a clip. I don't know if you guys can find. There's a clip out there where they play they play a song to the background of it, but it's him hugging his attorney at the end of it. And it was the first time watching that trial was the first time I went, I could do that. Mm-hmm. I went, oh, wait a second, I could be Amber Heard's attorney. Yeah. I could maybe even be marginally better than Amber Heard's attorney. Maybe.
That dude was horrible, man.
Oh no, the dude actually, Ron Bourne was really good. So Ron Bourne got blamed for everything Nadelhoff did because they looked a lot alike. Nadelhoff was the dude who objected to his own question. But everybody thought it was Rottenborn because Rottenborn has a more memorable name. Mm-hmm. So everybody would blame Rottenborn. Rottenborn had his own problems because he was the one who was cross-examining Johnny Depp. And he did introduce, he had his own problems. He introduced text messages that were really 30,000 text messages later, nobody cares anymore. Mm-hmm. If you focus on 5 sets of text messages that were oh, this is very shocking, people probably would have remembered it and been like, wow, Johnny Depp sends some very weird text messages. 30,000 text messages later, we're all going
too much information for me to retain.
It's just oh, this is just how he texts. He's just not a text. He just likes to use the word knock. Yeah. That's it. Okay, we just got kicked off of there now. Okay, good. Knock. Wow, Walter just says just drops the SeaWorld out of nowhere.
See you next Tuesday.
Yeah. But that was literally how he spoke. Yeah. He would drop it in the conversations because he's he very much likes British humor. He grew up on Monty Python. Mm-hmm. So they're focusing on these text messages and things like that. Rottenborn was focusing on sex, things of talking about using her throat for things more than injury. And then he's just can you repeat that again?
I'll be where is this going? They're grown adults.
The husband and wife.
Yeah.
So I don't think it registered with Rottenborn after 3 years of looking at these text messages that was a sext, not a violent text message. Mm-hmm. Mistake on Rottenborn's end. Clearly. But he goes ahead and so his cross-examination of Johnny Depp the first time was horrible, and I think that's why it started out really well, and he just kept on he spent too much time, got in the weeds, but he was still Amber Heard's best attorney. It's her other attorney, the lead counsel on the case, Bredehoff, who was just not good. Mm-hmm. Couldn't ask a non-leading question to save her life. And if you know what a leading question is, basically when you imply the answer in the question, and you can't ask that when you're on direct. When you're my witness, I can't ask you leading questions. I can't be oh, so did you feel angry that Johnny Depp slapped you in the face? I can't ask you that. That I could ask you that on cross because I'm opposing counsel. Yeah. It's going to be hard to get you to answer a question, but you're really supposed to, on direct and on redirect, you're supposed to ask open-ended questions. This is why when you watch Amber Heard go up, it was anytime Bredehoff was asking her a question, there was 30,000 objections. Yeah. And they were just getting so exhausted from the literally, if you watch redirect, after she was cross-examined by Camille Vasquez, who was a star in that trial, I think she came out of that looking like a superhero. She was gold.
The price went up for her.
Oh, yeah. Well, she became a partner with the firm.
Yeah.
So she crushed it so hard. like, I think at the end she could have convinced that jury that like water is wine. Like she was so good that it's like anything she would have said would have convinced you of anything. She had so much good credibility, partially because I think Amber Heard's credibility when she was on direct was horrible.
Yeah.
And then she went ahead and destroyed her on cross-examination. So I think that one side looked really good. Johnny Depp's team were all really good attorneys. They were all amazing attorneys. That was a hard case to fight. That was defamation from the point of view of a celebrity is hard.
That was going to ask you next.
Yeah, that is a hard thing to fight because you have to prove actual malice, which is actual malice in the defamation sense means that you knew or with reckless disregard for the truth caused that false statement to be published, which basically means that you knew it was false. You should have known it should have been false. It's not just like negligence. It's like you have to prove that like I'm running around being like, trying to think of one that's good. I used to have a good one with, I used to do this bit where I was like, oh, my buddy Mark Yobbs, like, basically you have to prove like somebody, trying to think of it would be defamation enough. Basically, like this dude Mark Yobbs has a gift, right? Like, is that false? Well, I have to prove that it's false. But if Mark Yobbs was famous, I have to know it was false. It also would have to not be an opinion. Big can be an opinion, right?
Yeah.
And also, like, you have to prove, like, injury, right? Like, you have to prove some kind of injury. You have to be in court being like, listen, not only, Your Honor, do I not have a big case, but everybody thinking I have a case, but that caused me not to get laid or caused me to lose jobs because they were afraid of my case. Like, it'd have to be that bad.
Bad Yelp reviews.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why, like,
Dude, I think I'm Michigan talking about
Pretty much.
yeah, like basically, like, you
that.
have to prove that like it thing hurt you and that it was also false. I don't know who's trying to prove that in court anyway. I think they would just want that on the record.
Nowadays, people try to do anything nowadays, stuff like that.
it was the full on I didn't want.
Oh, dear God.
So
Yeah.
But that's the point.
Oh,
Defamation,
man.
you have to prove that there was a false statement that was published to a group of people. So, like, being
What
on a
she did-
podcast would be enough doing
Yeah.
it. She wrote an article.
yeah,
And it was about the person. So actually, that was one of the things that was hard for Johnny Depp's case. It wasn't outright defamation because it was defamation by implication, right? It didn't say Johnny Depp's name in the article,
it just.
but it clearly pointed out.
to him. Yeah.
And ruined his career for the most part. He lost a lot of money from Disney.
Speaking of which, I heard that they want to resign for $300 million.
Oh, look
That
at
was
that.
I think that's a rumor
It's a
that's going
rumor?
around. That's a blog thing. I don't think that's true.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah,
He
that
won
one.
$300 million and 30 llamas. I was like,
Yeah, he said he wasn't gonna do another Pirates movie without $300 million, and you could give him $300 million and 100 alpaca, and then everybody showed up with alpacas for the whole trial.
seems like Disney just could be all these alpacas.
The thing is, I know he had in the bag two things. One, the recordings was damning evidence.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
My thing
Oh,
was
yeah.
like, if that never happens, he probably gets away with murder,
Yeah.
pretty much.
Because the fact that she did that, recorded just to get that gotcha moment, it's like,
Yeah.
yo, that's some
Followed the
scumbaggery.
host. Yes, they just followed you.
Oh, thank you.
And then I really knew he had it when she was testifying. He was just laughing at her.
Dude,
Yeah.
it was like
Yeah.
comical. Like, yo, even one of the guys, the guards was like, laughing so hard, he had to leave the damn courtroom. I was like, oh,
It was bad. Like when friends of her or old friends of her was like, yo, she's a bad person. And then even his friends are like, no, she's like everybody.
It was,
Yeah.
it's what I'm saying.
It's like she was getting, it's like, know that meme with like, fight back.
Yeah.
Like, yeah,
Thanks, everybody.
She's just getting beat over the head.
Like, getting a real
Hey,
this shit. He put in the bed. Like, what the? Who does that? This shit. She blamed it on the dog. Like, there's no dog in a creek that big.
did they even show pictures of the poop in the bed? Or just
They did. They
They showed
did.
pictures to the trial.
There's
Wait.
pictures. There are
There's
pictures.
that he took of her pooping in the bed.
There's a picture there that exists in evidence of a poop in the bed.
Wow.
There's a
I thought it was a
picture.
joke.
Oh, no.
Like, I thought he
It
mentioned
It really happened.
That was admitted into evidence somewhere down the line.
Holy
when he
shit.
also talked about it and stuff like that, he said
pooped in
there's
the bed.
there's-
Wait,
there's-
what?
well, he said there's fecal matter in the bed.
Yeah.
Those were his words. And after that, she said it was a dog. He's like, no, that's not the dogs. I've cleaned them. I know how their poop looks like.
Guys, don't you remember when this was the only thing we were all talking about? And it was such a great time when it wasn't like the world's on fire and like, oh yeah, we're gonna get rid of
hard.
I was just laughing.
no SCOTUS opinions that are making everybody go, oh,
So-
we're living in the 50s again.
Yeah. Oh man. So we're gonna get there. So you do the law thing, and then I met you and you said you did comedy. So tell us about the comedy thing. How did that get going?
Oh, I think I actually knew you before I started doing stand-up. A long time before I did stand-up. I met you at 24 Hour Fitness.
Yes.
Around 2015, 2016.
But you were doing. I think you were doing like film.
Well, I had the film background. I wanted to be a filmmaker from like high school into college, but then when I went to law school, I kind of got burnt out with it, and then I got into comedy because it's only reliant on you. If you want to go do stand up, like you can't make a movie by yourself. Like you can, it's going to be really hard. Medea does it, but like the Medea movies are basically like you needed he still needs a lot of people to rely on to make those movies. He's not doing that alone, but like I was very when I was a kid, there were two things I wanted to do: stand up in film, and those were but I never knew how you got into stand up comedy, right? So I got into film when I was growing up because I'm a big fan. We were talking about Kevin Smith before, yeah. So that could be 2 hours of a podcast right there. Just
don't
how
talk
much
about movies, man. We'll be here forever.
No, he'll be here.
Yeah.
Him and Dre.
Yeah, we could be here for years on end just talking about Kevin Smith alone.
Exactly.
But again, like from him, Robert Rodriguez, Spike Lee. All these, great directors of like the 90s and 80s and early 2000s that like really had kind of impressed me. So I'm like, okay, I know how to make a film because you just get a video camera and go ahead and edit something together, and there you go. And I learned that a little bit along the way, and I got to a point where I was good enough where I had people inviting me out to like Long Island to be a DP on music videos.
Oh, nice.
Really? Yeah,
I didn't know that.
And I even got offered a job editing porn for a living my first day of law school.
Wow.
How'd that go?
I did not take it, mainly because when you edit porn for a living, you're not editing the porn you like, you're editing the porn other people like.
Yeah.
And I'm also a very vanilla guy. Like
DVDA.
Yeah, let's put it this way. What? Me and my girlfriend tried watching porn together one day, and she handed me like the Pornhub browser, and I typed boobies into it.
Oh, boy.
And she goes to me and she goes, it's Pornhub. There's boobies everywhere. It's all boobies.
Exactly.
It's like 80 to 90% boobies.
And if you're lucky, you'll find some commentary on those boobies.
Yeah, it's like.
It's probably the best podcast ever.
See the areola is bigger than the left areola.
So
there's a bump right there, too.
It's funny you talk about that. I met a guy that wanted me to edit his films. And I was going to do it. And it was like, we had it. I was like, yo, make sure you have these people sign these NDAs, that you're going to be doing this stuff. And constantly give them material so I can, edit it. And what happened?
This only got one like.
Whatever, who cares?
Yeah, we'll take it.
And whatever happened, what happened? All of a sudden, he's like, oh, no, I don't want to do it anymore. I'm like, bro.
What?
You made me sit there, edit all these film of yours.
And you don't want to get the NDAs?
And you don't, and then I was like, I don't give a damn if you find them on the street. Like, just
get it done.
I'll put their face out.
Yeah.
I want to get paid.
Yeah.
Come because I know, like, we even talked about, like, because to make a porn website, you need the hosting. It's like doing a podcast.
Yeah.
You have someone to host it and someone to browse it. And once you get those two, then you can get the PayPal and that stuff like that. Yeah. And I was like, dude, we can make it happen.
Yeah. But
he just got his feelings and then
it also costs money to do it.
It does.
It's awesome.
But yeah, man,
could have made something happen, but he had cold feet.
And I did that joint. I literally was spending.
What's up, Russell Ray? What's up?
You can ask Shorty. I was spending hours.
Yeah.
Like editing his face out so he can't be seen, altering his voice a little bit, going on YouTube. Shout out to YouTube University. Listen, if you want to do anything, go on YouTube University. They'll tell you.
All right.
And bro, it's just like, dude, we have it. Even to this day, I got some of the dancers like, can you edit my OnlyFans? I'm like, oh my god.
Oh, I still get questions for OnlyFans every once in a while. Usually it's for
I don't know.
Oh, it might have ended. Stream 24 minutes. Yeah. We had 392 viewers, 1 new follower.
Yeah, look at that.
All right.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that more often. So, yeah, like the OnlyFans, I'm like, sis, I can do it, but make sure that your paper's in order.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Because
we did not get any gifts though.
I don't know that whole TikTok.
I don't do
it's fine. I've never done that before anyway, so it's fine.
I'll venture out more into it. But yeah, it's like, yo, we can make.
Well,
it
you need
happen.
1,000 followers. Do you have yours on?
I do have one, but like I said, I don't check. I just constantly post up crap.
I'll be honest with you, I don't have one because we have beef. We have beef.
Here
We'll get to that later. We'll get to that later.
Not now. But yeah, that's pretty interesting. I didn't know that. So, boy, what kind of music videos would you?
I only did 2. It was for a couple of bands, and one of them was called Straith. Mm-hmm. And I loved it. It was fun doing it. And it was great because with music videos, if you want to get into film and video editing, it's you're dealing with a lot less. You're not focusing on the audio. I would shoot it and I would edit it, and it was very fun to do because I didn't have to worry about getting the actors to work a correct way, having to work on the audio because they're already doing the audio for you. So it was very fun. I enjoyed doing it. And it was fun because you get to play around with a lot of the cinematic tools of like, okay, I get to use my camera. I just have to focus on being a DP for this. Editing, like, okay, I could work to cut this together and what really works visually. And the lighting, because that's something when you figure out lighting in film, you as a cinematographer, it's like that's when that and like focal length and framing image and framing stuff, like getting things in the right like shot. That is when that stuff clicks for you. That's when things start looking like, oh, you can make a movie.
Yeah.
So that started to click for me, and then I decided to go to law school. And then literally, like, it was 2011. The world's kind of going crazy, and I'm like, I remember every 2 years feels like the world's going crazy now.
Dude.
So like, I should have known, and I should have just been like, it's fine, just keep going, keep your head down. Went to law school, and I was like, okay, like I applied to a few places, and I ended up going to Rutgers Law in Newark, and I'm happy. I can't say I was. People always ask me like, "Oh, are you happy you became a lawyer? Do you regret it?" All that stuff. The one thing I'll say is it put me in a room full of the smartest people I'll ever be in my life. These people were brilliant. I will be proud to say I went to law school with any of these people. They are amazing people. Every person that I met in law school, except for maybe two, were all smarter than me. And I will say it 1,000 times because they were all 10 times harder workers than I was. The only reason I'm lucky enough that my brain just works the way it does, that I was able to keep up. And that's the only way I could like imagine is like maybe because I never did drugs, never drank, and that's why my brain works the way it does. And I'm like, that's the only reason why I was able to keep up with everybody. It's I just didn't do these other ancillary things. Yeah. I'm a lazy jackass, but somehow my lazy jackassery was like evening out to like smoking pot and drinking. Like that's what it was. I'm a lazy jackass who never drank and smoked pot, so I could keep up with the very smart person who gets stoned and maybe drinks. That's maybe that's what I equated to. But no matter what, I put me in a room full of the smartest people I've met in my life. People who were involved with the government of Newark, people who were involved with the government of Jersey City, people who are prosecutors, and people who are all amazing human beings and don't remember that I even exist, I bet. Like, they were like, that guy was in class with us? Actually, they probably remember because I would never shut up. Even back then, I wanted to be a comic, and I would be like, this is boring. Let's go ahead and ask a question. Because, like, in law school, they do the Socratic method. And they go, like, okay, ask questions and have conversations. And I'm like, oh, this is where I fit in. All right. Walter, how do you say your last name? I don't even know. It's Polish or something. And that was it. It would be like weird things like that.
Does it end with an I?
No, it doesn't. Strangely enough, I didn't have the ski at the end of my name. I know, it's such a weird thing. They like forgot to add the ski when my family came over or something. It was like, but it sounds like if you say my last name, Tatush, it almost sounds like it does need a ski, like Tatushki. Like, oh, that makes sense. Like if you try to say it like you're Polish, I say it like I'm a New Jersey guy. Oh, Depp Tuck. Okay, good. Or Depp Touch. Like I usually say Depp Touch, like Depp Touch yourself, but I don't think it's correct.
That in 2022, slippery
slope. Well, especially, you don't want to be Depp touched. Oh, that definitely sounds like a verb that you don't want becoming a verb. He got Depp touched. Oh, no. Yo, if there's ever a verb that becomes my name, that will be it. I don't know what it means in the future. If I ever get canceled, whatever I did, it's called being Depp touched.
Weinstein would be to the punch.
You don't want to be Louis C.K.
Weinstein.
Yeah, that's it.
You gotta bring that up. Jesus, tap dancing Christ.
Oh my God.
Listen, if I'm gonna jerk off in front of people, I'm gonna make sure I record it too. That way we have consent. And listen, we all recorded it too. I don't know what you're talking about. Hey, she knew there was a camera. She didn't even have it. They jerked off for fun. Like, that was a whole weird story. Louis C.K. is its own weird thing. Yeah. Weinstein's the insanity story that I think set everything off.
I think actually the fact that Hugh Hefner died pretty much opened the floodgates to all this that happened with the Weinsteins, Cosby, Louis C.K. and a bunch of
wasn't one things that happened at his thing too. Like, wasn't like one of the Cosby things at like the Playboy Mansion or something?
Yeah, and then he just paid out. He settled out just now because it was a 15-year-old girl who was at Playboy Mansion. Like, how did she get in there? That's my question. Like, and like that's the thing. But like, she got paid for that.
He didn't show up to the trial either. So no, he won. She won, and the jury gave her $500,000.
This is the thing I understand, all right? When you have these like mansion parties, you would think, as me being a guest and coming in there, that the women in here of age
getting lined up, man.
Don't put me in that. I want to kill this. Like, I hate when
also all the allegations. That wasn't the allegation. Everybody went, okay, that was like, but like with Bill Cosby, he had a lot of allegations of like drugging people, and that's I don't know enough about that case where I'm going to get deep into the conversations about that because I know that it happened. I know that she won $500,000. I don't know the facts of it, what were alleged. So that's a whole thing of like, that's why I try to avoid talking about cases too deeply when I don't know. Like that's why the Johnny Depp Amber Heard thing, I watched that straight on out. That was sitting home. That's why I'll talk to anybody about that for like 3 weeks. I'm like, yo, did you guys watch that? It was so weird going to places and people weren't watching. I'm like, how are you not watching it? This was like the most amazing thing.
At work, watch this shit while they were working at my job. Like, yo.
Oh, I had it on too at work, man. Every lawyer I know was watching that trial.
Because it was so funny.
It was amazing. It was the best show on television. Yeah. Game of Thrones wasn't as good as that.
No.
That was better written than any TV show, maybe other than Stranger Things right now.
I've never seen
Cobra Kai.
Reality played out like that.
Easy with Cobra Kai.
I said other than I said Cobra Kai is really well written. I like Cobra Kai. That was me being like Stranger Things and Cobra Kai are good.
Right.
Like I was saying, it's better than Game of Thrones.
I never watched Game of Thrones.
I love Game of Thrones.
I've never seen reality play out like that, and I'm just happy it favored Johnny Depp because my thing is there were too many things in his favor for him not to win.
All right,
what's in the bed though? Like
no. Before we go that one,
but you were right though. The audio killed her.
Oh yeah,
the audio and her own testimony killed her. Those are the two things that I think lost her.
Let's go tap in that a little bit, and then we're going to break. Wall had a saying that he always says about that Johnny Depp trial that pissed him off was that Johnny Depp basically was guilty until proven innocent. Right?
That's fair.
And Walt always says to me that like any going further, any of these athletes or entertainers or whatever should have a clause in their contract in case that they may get hit with this sexual harassment, whatever, that if they're found innocent, they should have their funding back, right?
I said if you're ever, and again, image is everything in entertainment. But if you're found guilty or you're part of some wild controversy, right? Mm-hmm. Regardless of how the scenario plays out, if you pick a side, regardless if I continue our business venture or you cut ties with me, if I'm proven innocent, whatever contractual agreement that you owe me financially, I'm getting whether I cut ties with you or not.
Well, let me put it this way. Johnny Depp didn't lose any contracts he already had. He resigned from the Fantastic Beasts movie, but he kept all the money.
Yeah,
he got paid $10 million to be in a movie he wasn't in.
It's pretty dope.
Really?
The last one, the Fantastic Beasts, was it the Secrets of Dumbledore?
Yeah.
He was not in. He was supposed to be in. He got paid for that.
He was replaced by the guy who played Hannibal Lecter.
What about the Pirates series?
Well, that they never had an official contract for, which is a huge thing that happened in the trial that they were debating. Was they had an agreement, but they didn't have anything written on paper. That was a big part of the dispute in trial. Was did he ever actually have this contract? Was there an agreement? It wasn't enough. Like again, it wasn't enough to say that he had it's not like he had enough where he could have sued Disney, but it was enough to say, like, is that damages from the statements? Yeah. And that's what they were trying to lean on, was that might not, like, he probably didn't have enough to sue Disney for because he didn't have the finalized contract, which is fine because I think on his end of it, he's probably sitting there. I'm really more focused on Amber Heard and what she did. Disney walked away and that was their thing. And like, listen, then my response to that is, well, screw them. I don't want to be in anything with you guys anyway.
Yeah.
That's a bit odd to me considering how many parts have there been? Like, 4 or 5?
I think 6.
5. They were going to do a 6th one. And that was, but the thing is, like, not all movies get a 6th movie anyway.
True.
But I think for this case, there was already a lot of talk about there being a 6th movie. Mm-hmm. And
6th and 7th, right?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know about 7th because he made it sound like they were going to try and wrap up his character in the 6th. Mm-hmm. No matter what was going to eventually happen, that was going to be the plan, was to wrap it up in the 6th movie. But either way, I think I look at that and go, like, that was really more to prove damages, was the Pirates movie. It was more to prove damages by Amber Heard, that her statements hurt him. It wasn't to prove that Disney had a contract with him or not. It wasn't there to prove, like, again, because like they tried to prove damages in other ways too. Like that his, typically he would make X amount in a given year and he made Y amount. He'd make 30 million or 40 million. He was making 10 million in a year.
Because prior to all that stuff, I had seen articles talking about like, oh, this guy's losing money. He has expensive habits, with his lifestyle. So I'm like, that's irrelevant. What I need to know is, did he do this or not? And my thing is like, had he not have the damning evidence of that recording, whatever she said would have hurt
it would have been
his career.
She said, like, here, like, What do you call that? Is that hearsay? You guys call that?
Well, hearsay is an out-of-court statement made by somebody who's not being. Basically, it's an out-of-court statement by another person, right?
Thank you for the correction.
So it's basically any out-of-court statement being used to prove the truth of what it asserts. So, for instance, if you told me that this is the problem. If I say Kev told me, there's two Kevs.
Seti.
If Kev told me, Seti told him that Walt got into a car accident, that's hearsay.
Yeah.
And it actually might even be double hearsay because you don't know where Seti got it from. Whereas if you said to me, I saw Walt get into a car accident, that's your own witnessing of what happened. So that's generally the idea. Is hearsay is an out-of-court statement, usually made by a declarant, usually not the person being on the stand, although it can sometimes, hearsay can be by the person who's testifying. It's the statement that's an out-of-court statement being used to prove but the important thing here is being used to prove the truth of what it asserts, and there are exceptions to hearsay. There's like 28 exceptions to hearsay. So hearsay comes in a lot of the time, usually because it fits under one of these 28 exceptions. The most common one is opposing party statement made by opposing party opponent. So basically, if you are a party to a case, I'm suing you or Walt's suing you, which just sounds like I'm suing you again. But if you and Walt are suing each other and you said something out of court, I can bring it up in court and use it against you because again, like if I'm representing Walt here or I'm representing myself and I'm suing you, I could use what you said out of court because, hey, you're a party opponent. This is going against your interest. I want to bring it in. I want to see why you said this. If it's especially it's contradictory to what you said, and you said it before. So why did you say it before? And now it's different.
Is that when a lot of those athletes are entered say no comment because they don't want to use things come in their mouth? Okay.
Yeah, that's why like the DeShaun Watson stuff. Like, we're shut up, dude. Like, stop saying stuff.
Yeah. We're gonna get there.
Incriminate yourself.
And this goes back to. I'm glad you guys bring this up. This goes back to the whole Travis Scott, in Houston. Like to do the interviews during a pending case.
Yeah,
bad move. Misstep. I mean, granted, Charlemagne was doing his job.
Yeah,
but it seems to be like, nah, we're not doing any of these.
Yeah.
So you incriminate yourself, it'd be admissible as evidence, I would say.
Yeah,
man. And that's a lot of footage they got. They could pick that over.
Yeah, they can introduce it as evidence, as statements by party opponent.
Yeah.
So, again, there's like 28 different exceptions, and there's different reasons why you could basically get hearsay in, but generally speaking, hearsay is not admissible. The judge in the Johnny Depp case was very restrictive as to what she allowed in.
Yeah.
Even if it fit under an exception, sometimes if it just seemed like hearsay, but it wasn't hearsay. For instance, if say you opened the door and somebody shouted boo at you, right? Well, she might have kept that out, but in reality, saying you opened the door and somebody shouted boo at you is not you saying boo is not like oh, that person shouted boo at me. I'm not using it to prove the truth that boo is a thing, right? Like I'm using it to say like the action was that they shouted boo at me. It's you're using it. Sometimes it's called present sense impression. Like okay, like that person shouted at me. You're not using it to prove the truth of what it asserts, right? The best way I could the car accident example, right?
Yeah.
You walked outside. You walk outside, and Sadie comes up to you and goes, "Hey, Walt just got into a car accident. Look right there." Now, even that would still be hearsay. I'm trying to think of one that's probably a good one to use. Again, the boo one, like especially when it's in action. Somebody yelled at me, "Stop." The proof, it wasn't being used to prove that I stopped. It's being used to say that they shouted "stop" at me. It's there's sometimes like exceptions or things that just aren't hearsay because the truth of what it asserts is a key component of hearsay. Reliability, because you're not able to cross-examine the person, is a big issue with hearsay. So yeah, that's typically why like that's a big deal. But again, usually getting stuff in, if it's by a party opponent, like you're saying somebody's doing an interview, then getting it in is a little bit easier because, hey, like you said it, I get to question you on it. You can go ahead and dispute it right now, or on redirect, your attorney can go ahead and ask you about it. So that's why that comes in. And that happened a lot in the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial, right? Especially because you had the audio tapes. In fact, there's audio tapes that exist that have other people's voices on it that they could not introduce into evidence because that would have been hearsay. Because this person's saying this, we don't know if that's what happened, right? They might be speculating. You're not allowed to
they weren't actually physically there. Just heard it for like either someone chatting about it. Oh damn.
Yeah, so that's why there's a whole set of audio tapes from Australia that went on because Amber Heard left her phone on record. They don't know why she did it, but you could probably find the 4 hours of audio tapes, and it kind of gives you a better detail of what happened in Australia with the finger thing, where she kind of admits that she was like that she's worried that he's going to leave her if she leaves the building or whatever. Basically, like, this is post his finger getting severed. So there are, like, again, but that couldn't be, that was not admissible. What?
I didn't know his finger got cut off.
Oh, yeah, she threw a bottle at him.
Yeah.
That was a big part. That was like one of like I would say like the 5 main events they focused on. And by the way, her team could have won that trial. Her team had a very good argument for winning that trial, and they just botched it every step of the way. And the article was not about Johnny Depp. Right, and you heard it in Rottenborn's opening statement, and they just kind of mishandled that a lot. And like, if they had focused on that, the article was not about Johnny Depp, and that it was her talking about her experiences post filing the TRO, they probably could have won,
because they didn't.
Because they went into all these ancillary details and focused on text messages, tried proving all these facts were true, introducing SA allegations that were never brought up in previous instances. Those things, and then also her own testimony. And her own testimony in the audio tapes are what killed her. And that's what crushed her on it.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, because originally it was based on her experiences with him, not so much her actions towards him.
Yeah, and I remember seeing that video of them fighting when he's drinking that big ass jug of wine and stuff.
The mega pint, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, Jesus Christ! Like, how much wine do you drink?
That wine's his thing.
But I'm glad it backfired on her because it was set up to get him in a gotcha moment, and it pretty much highlights how she was being mad, toxic to him.
Yeah.
And he was doing everything he can not to act stupid and hit on her.
The irony in that, he's the heavy drinker, but she's the abuser.
Well, she's also a heavy drinker. She was drinking like 2 bottles of wine a day by some testimony.
Christ.
So that was the other thing I heard her as well. Is she had all this documentation of him like sleeping, like comatose, because he was doing opioids at the time and he was trying to get off opioids. And he was on the nod. She had all these pictures and like video of, and not anything of like substantial injury, but then she's describing horrific injuries, horrific attacks that just like there was no, like, you have all these evidence, and she's sitting there saying I have mountains of evidence that couldn't come in, and it's like,
where is it?
It was, what was it? Also, why are you submitting duplicates of pictures into evidence, some of which are edited?
Yeah.
And then saying that they're from, this one's from a different lighting source. Well, and then somebody showed that that's not even possible. It's literally the same picture submitted twice into evidence. It happened multiple times in the trial. That, I think, hurt her case. Well, that hurt her case immensely. I think that destroyed her credibility. I think her lawyers destroyed their credibility on it. I think she destroyed her credibility. I think her own testimony destroyed her credibility. So and by her own testimony, I mean, like, again, describing events that were like, again, would have been horrific. Like, maybe like you wouldn't have gone to see a doctor, but maybe you should have.
Yeah,
but again, you're taking pictures of everything.
You might as well
you must go all the way.
Yeah.
There's audio tapes of you basically egging him on. Like, again, the audio tapes were, I think, just destroyed her as well. Her own experts also did not help. Like, it almost felt like her own experts were so bad a lot of the time. And then, like you said about the TMZ video, that hurt her as well, because eventually it was shown that, like, she was clearly leaking stuff to TMZ.
Yeah.
Twice about the TRO for the divorce and about the video. God. And they even had a guy from TMZ come in and testify to that, who showed up like mid-trial as part of the rebuttal and being like, yo, I actually have a lot of information regarding this. Yeah. He knew about the video and when it was posted and that it was edited. He also knew that somebody had directed them to be at the courthouse when she filed the TRO.
Jeez.
Oh yeah. Oh, the rebuttal witnesses were the best because they were the surprise randos. That she called them randos in her post interviews. Don't ever. Even that was stupid. Her going on and do an interview about this case afterwards. Her and her attorney did that.
Oh, people believe him because he was Edward's sister. Like, what are you talking about?
Her statements were weird.
What are you talking about?
This is the man who taught convinced the world that he had scissors for fingers.
Huh? Like,
that was a movie, right?
As we're talking about this, I'm thinking to myself, imagine her in the same predicament like 20 years earlier doing Howard Stern after this.
Howard Stern was shilling for her too. Howard Stern was hardcore, being like, I think he's a narcissist, dragging her to court down there. And like, there's reasons why they went to court in Virginia. One, the anti-slap laws were a lot more lenient. That's where the Washington Post is located, so they were able to because that's where
Howard's gotten soft. Howard would have obliterated her 20 years ago.
He picked a side. He lost. That's what happens. Sometimes you pick the wrong team. He bet on the wrong horse. He started, and like I think a lot of people thought like when this happened, Johnny Depp had a 1% at most chance of winning.
It's because she's attractive. That's all.
No, it's also the law. Like I said, it's very hard to prove defamation for a celebrity.
Got you.
And again, and not even defamation, but defamation by implication. It didn't mention him by name. The article was written. She hired lawyers to go through the article to make sure that he couldn't like try to sue her for one breach of their NDA, because they had an NDA that they agreed to when they got into when they divorced. So really, they were trying not to invoke the NDA or the non-disparagement clause, and also to make sure she wasn't defaming him. So if you literally went out of your way to hire attorneys to show that you weren't defaming him, isn't that showing that you? Most people don't go hire an attorney before making a statement to make sure they're not defaming somebody.
She's just a bad person at the end of the day.
Wait, this is the same article that I think Johnny Depp originally tried to sue. I think the Daily Sun.
There were two different articles. Daily Sun was the one that called him a wife beater, and there was a trial in the UK over that, but it was different evidence that was allowed. The UK trial allowed a lot more hearsay evidence in, a lot more testimony by affidavits, so you couldn't cross-examine witnesses, which is why in America you can't have hearsay a lot of the time because you can't cross-examine the person making that statement. So, a big part of American legal system is the ability to cross-examine, the ability to verify what somebody's saying and say, like, hey, what's the basis of this?
See, the British and their hearsay.
You see that? Is there like laws in the UK preventing this stuff to be done in the tabloids and all that stuff?
Well, actually, so the UK actually has stricter defamation laws than the US.
That's what I meant.
So in theory, but the difference was who's the parties to the case. It was the UK Sun who was a party to the case, and there was information that the judge was going off of that we now know is different, right? Specifically about the donation of the divorce settlement. The judge looked at Amber Heard's allegation statement back then under oath in the UK that she had donated all $7 million of their divorce settlement and relied heavily on that. And also discounted Johnny Depp's perspective events because he was on drugs and alcohol. And he believed that, that meant you couldn't be believed. So that was something that the judge there weighed heavily against Johnny Depp. And we found out later on, one, she didn't donate the $7 million. And she donated maybe at most $1 million of her own money. Actually, I don't even think it was that much.
I think it was like $500,000.
It was like something near like, maybe it was like $700,000 of her own money. And then we also found out, but then we also know that there's corroborating witnesses to Johnny Depp's events, and not like, and again, part of what he was weighing as well was that a lot of these, witnesses, the corroborating witnesses that came in on this trial, some of them were employees by Johnny Depp, but some of them weren't, right? Some of them were police officers, which he devalued the police officers' testimony or their statements because of they misevaluated the amount of time they were there for. They thought they were there for 30 to 45 minutes, and in reality, they were only there for 15 minutes. Which, like, okay, everybody gauges time differently. That doesn't mean that you all of a sudden now your statement's completely discounted. And again, a lot of the people who did come forward, like for him in the UK trial, were people who were at least associatedly paid for him. For instance, one of the major witnesses was the butler, who actually wasn't paid by Johnny Depp. He was paid by Disney and a couple of other movie studios. So he wasn't directly paid. That was my favorite moment when the butler came in, and I'm like, and he was the one who found Johnny Depp's finger in Australia after it got severed allegedly by the vodka bottle. So, that was one of my favorite moments, because like the second he came in, I'm like, they brought in the butler. There's a butler. We got a butler in this action. And not only that, he was there in the UK where like to witness a couple of their arguments there, to kind of go over like their mannerisms with each other. But as well in the UK, he was there for the aftermath of when the vodka bottle was thrown at Johnny Depp's finger, and they had to look for the finger. Wow. And the house is trash, and like Johnny Depp went into shock and started drawing on the walls, which is its own weird thing. Like there's questions about that, absolutely. And he kind of admitted, like, I was in shock. My finger just went off my finger. Like it's like, which is a weird thing to say, but it's true. Like the tip of his finger was gone.
I would like to shout out the unsung hero, Winona Ryder. She said, "Listen, Johnny's not a violent guy. Not mind Johnny." You know?
Oh wait, that's its own thing. The amount of exes he had that came to his defense, not now, but 4 years ago when this all started like popping up. Dude, I imagine getting an ex to come to your stand. Not even like come testify. He actually did get an ex to testify in this trial. That was impressive as well. But not even that. But he had multiple exes who just came out in public and were like, "I don't. This isn't who I know." His ex-wife, or not even his ex-wife, because I don't think they were married. But the mother has 2 children. Winona Ryder.
Miss Five Finger Discount came out and said, "Listen, that's not him."
Penelope Cruz came out to his defense. I don't think they ever dated. But the one who testified in the trial, famous model from the 90s, post Winona Ryder. Why am I going like this?
Kate Moss? Was Kate Moss one of them?
Kate Moss, yes, Kate Moss.
Wow.
She testified during the trial, came forward to testify about an event during the trial. This is a woman who's very private. I'm now speaking like I'm Ben Chu, who's his attorney. But yeah, he's like, she's very private. She's never made a public statement in her life. Yeah. Listen, I get it, Ben Chu. You're making a very strong argument for your own client here. But again, like Kate Moss has multiple times come out publicly for Johnny Depp, and the reason why Kate Moss got to come into this trial was because Amber Heard, and this is one of my favorite moments of this trial, was because you see like the fist bump that Ben Chu gave to one of the other attorneys was they were talking about an incident where Amber Heard punched Johnny Depp. Yeah. And she said the reason why she did that was because she was worried that he was going to knock her sister down the steps, and it made her think of the alleged incident with Kate Moss, which never happened. And he had mentioned, and the reason why that was why Kate Moss got to come in to rebut that evidence, to rebut that statement. And thus Kate Moss came in and said, I never got pushed down the stairs by Johnny Depp. And in fact, what happened was I slipped down the steps and Johnny Depp came and saved the day and nursed me back to health. Like, you couldn't have had a better statement by an ex in your life. I probably couldn't get, I could get maybe 1 or 2 exes to piss on me if I was on fire, let alone they would probably just be too shy to pee on me, but that's besides the point. But like, regardless.
See, he's a Derek Jeter of the acting thing, you know, when we go our separate ways, you know,
he still come back.
He still come back.
After hearing all of this, man, I can't even watch Drive Angry anymore. I don't love Drive Angry.
Oh my God, dude, another Drive Angry fan. We're the only 2 people on the planet who've ever watched that movie.
I own the Blu-ray.
I do too. I have it too. I don't have a Blu-ray. I have it on DVD.
I like him.
There are not many people who watch that movie. That was a great Nicolas Cage.
Awesome, man.
That is like a very good call out to the B movies of like the 70s and 80s. It was so fun.
And the accountant, so amazing. The guy who played the accountant.
Oh yes. Oh,
I love that dude.
He was just on another podcast recently. I can't remember his name. William Fichtner.
Yeah.
This is amazing.
You both have lost me here with that one.
Well, that's because only like 9 people in the world have seen Drive Angry.
Dude, it's an awesome movie. I'll let you see one.
It's very fun. It's a very fun movie.
Cheesy as hell, but it's awesome.
Yes, it's a callback to like the 80s like B movies.
The Grindhouse movies, yeah.
Okay.
It's a better version of the Tarantino Rodriguez.
Death Proof.
Yeah, it's a better version of that, I think.
I'll check it out.
I liked it better than those movies.
I like Death Proof.
Check it out.
I mean, it's not bad. Those movies aren't bad, but I still think Drive Angry is a better version of that, like of a callback to that era. Yeah. Because it doesn't just straight out like Death Proof is fine, and those 2 movies are fine, but also they're shorter. They're kind of like they're meant to just be kind of like Planet Terror and Death Proof are kind of more of like homages to that. They're almost kind of like I'm making that, but like I feel like Drive Angry is such a like it's an homage to it, but it's a B movie. It is a B movie being made in like the 2000s that like. It works. It really works better than like people give it credit for. It's way more. It's fun. The crazy cults and all that stuff.
The stunts.
Tom
Atkins.
The mid like because of how crazy it is. There's like a mid like I'm not even gonna get into it because I want to let people watch it. It's a fun movie. It's a very underrated movie. And in fact, Drive Angry came up in the trial because the one of Johnny Depp's bodyguards had worked with Amber Heard.
On a set.
When they came for the premiere to London.
Wow.
Yeah, like when they were at the premiere, he had worked with her. Yeah, it was so strange because I remember him mentioning, I met her actually on the at Drive for the tour for Drive Angry that she was touring for. I think I had been reached out to by Nicolas Cage to work that tour. And by the way, that was the other thing I found out through this trial is that Johnny Depp's career is basically thanks to Nicolas Cage.
Pretty much.
Like, that was a weird thing. That was, I think, when I first started getting into the trial was that, like, Nicolas Cage is like, yeah, speak to my agent. Like, you should get into acting. Yeah. And that's how we have Johnny Depp is because Nicolas Cage. 2 very different actors, although both very character actoring, like very entertaining both people.
In the renaissance of their careers.
The amount of times I've seen Gone in 60 Seconds, man.
Yeah.
Dude, Willy's Wonderland is an awesome movie. The Five Nights at Freddy's that we should have had.
Even towards the downside of Nicolas Cage, I like the National Treasure movies.
Yeah.
I like them a lot.
Yeah. Love them, Mom and Dad.
You know?
He's at its most Nicolas Cage-iest until we saw Mandy.
I think the most Nicolas Cage-iest. I'm trying to think what the most Nicolas Cage
well,
is.
I remember that movie. It was a Two-Face?
Face Off.
Oh, Face Off. That was.
I saw that in theaters.
That is a key like Nicolas Cage movie. I think that put him in the
Con Air.
Yeah, Con Air. Oh my God, Con Air.
Buckle up.
That's an amazing one too. Yes, yes. Con Air is probably one of my favorite Nicolas Cage
cheesy,
movies.
It's so awesome.
Yeah, well, he's like a king of cheese. That's kind of what he is.
John
He's a
Malkovich,
cheesy guy.
Sorry, the
there you go, another
virus.
King of cheese. Yeah. Oh my God. Well, there you go. You stuck a bunch of like cheesy guys. You made a cheesy action movie. That was the what's it called? What's the movies that were like the Expendables?
Yeah.
That was the Expendables before the Expendables.
Yeah.
That was the better version of like
Big Rains, Michael T. Nelson,
that was
Dave
like the
Chappelle,
90s, early 2000s.
Steve Buscemi.
Yeah.
Like that was the Expendables like 20 years earlier.
Yeah.
I loved that movie. It's such a crazy fun movie. That's another one of those movies. You're just like, that's such a nut job movie. There we go. I was talking to somebody the other day because I've been watching Stranger Things. It's very much an homage to the 80s.
Yeah.
I only just got into it and I streamed I went through the whole thing on Netflix, and I'm like, it's very much an homage to the 80s. Back to the Future,
Ghostbusters,
Ghostbusters, Goonies, Nightmare on Elm Street,
Nintendo, all that stuff.
Yeah, and I was trying to think, what would be like the 90s, early 2000s, like things that you would use for ambiance or for like homages to like the 90s and early 2000s, because like there's like things that
Parachute Pants, Pepsi Clear, Living Color.
That was early 90s, but that's almost early 90s is almost still the 80s, and then like 90s is almost split up to like early 90s, which is kind of the 80s, and then like late 90s, which kind of stayed into the early 2000s.
Arsenio Hall, that's early 90s still. Baywatch. We gotta stop.
We're gonna take a break. We're gonna come back. It is my turn for my unpopular opinion, which I do have. And then we're gonna talk some NFL, some Dan Schneider news. Walt has some stuff for us, and then we're gonna get into
which Walt? That Walt?
Yeah, that Walt over there. I'm Walt.
The mains. I guess
we're gonna get to the main stuff. You know,
how
you say the name? The abbreviation for the Supreme Court? SCOTUS? Yeah.
Call it SCOTUS.
We're gonna talk about them.
The SCOTUS WTF moments.
Man. So we'll be right back, man.
Oh boy.
DJ Intense from On the Record Podcast with the first song of the episode. Man, we missed this woman right here. This is InDoe with Deep.
So you can take one look at me and say don't trust her. Had me smoking on them things just like a Rasta. Couldn't get high enough, couldn't get by without your love. So keep your drama because I ain't beat no more. You only hit me when you need me, talking about you got some problems. Miss me with that good show head and call your baby mama. Cause I ain't picking up the next time that you call me fiendin'. So hit them bodies up, you know my cutoff game is seamless. Too late to deny it, on your low, all you know looking to try it. In my day I'm trying to take me to the highest, but I don't get low cause I'm a fly. Still do everything I wanna, stop sweating me, no sauna. You messed up, it's your karma, I'm ghost you with that drama. I ain't beat for you, I ain't beat, had me weak for you. Looking crazy in these streets, I went deep for you, I went deep to that heat. See me beaming and shining now, tables don't turn, who's crying now. I ain't beat, had me weak for you. Looking crazy in these streets, I went deep for you, I went deep to that heat. See me beaming and shining now, tables don't turn, who's crying now. You know you're so wrong. Boy, why you calling me, stalking me? Don't hit my phone, I know what you want. I'm sure you miss being it, boy, you won't see it again. I'm sure you miss being it, but I was the only one. Guess that's what I get with the tricks on me. For a minute, had a strip and lonely, crying myself to sleep. Now I'm woke now, shining, I'm in SoCal, and you ain't got no hope now. You call me, go to voicemail. On your low, all you know is I can try it. In my day, I'm trying to take me to the highest, but I don't get low cause I'm a fly bitch. Still do everything I wanna. Stop sweating me, no sauna. You messed up, it's your karma. I'm Gucci with that drama. I ain't beat for you. I ain't beat. Had me weak for you. Looking crazy in these streets. I went deep for you. I went deep to that heat. See me beaming and shining now. Tables don't turn, who's crying now. I ain't beat. Had me weak for you. Looking crazy in these streets. I went deep for you. I went deep to that heat. See me beaming and shining now. Tables don't turn, who's crying now. You know you're so wrong. Boy, why you calling me? Don't hit my phone and know what you want. I'm sure you miss being it. Boy, you won't see it again. I'm sure you miss being it. Boy, you won't see it again.
DJ Intense here again. Off our little break from Walter's excitement. I'm sorry, should I call you Brojo Death Punch?
No. I tried doing that once. I tried doing that in the city once. I tried getting him to introduce me as Brojo Death Punch. But I don't ever try to go by a stage name if you don't have to. First off, they call me Broho Death Punch, which became even weirder and more awkward, and you just feel more embarrassed for yourself that they mispronounced your stage name. And at this point, I'm just going back to Walter Deptich, and that's it. And I just feel sad. Okay. No, like Brojo Death Punch is my tag on everything on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Twitter. So call me that online or whatever you want to do. But it's still Walter if you know me and talk to me on podcasts and things like that. Just because, again, you're gonna be like, I'm calling an adult male Brojo Death Punch.
It sounds like a character from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Brojo Death Punch.
Yeah, it was actually because a friend of mine was a big wrestling fan, and I met him 10 years ago, and he gave me the nickname, and I kind of like it, and I kind of kept it in memories of him. Yeah.
No, real talk. That's a real dope name. It was like a character from an anime. It's like, yo,
it sounds like a guy powering up for a move.
Because I hate when people call me by my real name when I pod. I'm like, my name is Intense, but Walter says my name all the time. I'm like, I bleep. But okay, so we had an exciting conversation with Walt, and now you guys know it's the Unpopular Opinion segment. Last week, Said came in here and dropped the bombs
on the Kyrie situation.
Yeah,
which I've been proven right.
Oh, we're gonna talk about that.
All right, fine.
We're gonna talk about that.
Fine.
So now, 2 weeks ago was Walt. Now it's my turn. So you guys know the rules, how it goes. I have 5 minutes to state my claim.
I'm about to song you.
All right.
Yep. No CPT time for this one.
No. This actually is close to home for me. I had one spicy, but I said, nah, I don't want to do this one.
Just let me know when you're ready to go.
Ready? 3.
Go ahead. Go for it.
2, 1. So, as you guys know, I am a DJ. I do my job pretty well. I'm okay. I don't consider myself a superhero. Remember, I have 5 minutes. You guys can't interrupt me. So, for my unpopular opinion is, I believe the new DJs are lacking the necessary skills to continue the trends that the old DJs have. I feel the new DJs are not good. And I tell you why. Exhibit A. The new DJs nowadays are more genre-centric than being an open format DJ. A lot of the new DJs are now sticking to just either Latin parties or either trap parties or R&B parties or Afrobeat parties or lounges. None of them aren't diverse like we used to be back in the day, where if a record was hot, it was hot and you played it. You may have sets of your night that was either trap, hip-hop, Spanish, reggaeton, Afrobeat, but nowadays, because the DJs are so genre-centric, I have one of my homeboys, I can't bring him to the top 40 people because he doesn't have that kind of music. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Secondly, I think DJs play too safe, where they'll only play, those popping records.
Yeah, of course.
Instead of as being a DJ, you have to be a curator of music. So it's okay to slide in there that B-side record or C-side record of that kind of nature. You know what I'm saying? Prime example, Walt and I, we talk about Art Dealer Chick, Volume 1. There's a song on there called Gravity. Gravity is an outstanding record by Miguel. Doesn't really get any shine unless you're really a deep edit guy. And every time I play Gravity, the record, people come up to me like, what's that song? It's from Miguel. It was before Adorn. Adorn took off, and that's what everyone ran with.
Yeah.
Okay? So another thing, Exhibit B for me, a lot of these DJs with these controllers aren't learning the technical aspects of the DJ skills. I get it. The controller's right there. But with a turntable and blending and beat matching, it's a certain skill behind doing that. All these guys think you just hit the sync button, that's it. And I'm like, deaf the sync button because that's not real DJing. That's just that. Yeah. I whenever I see a DJ around me and they hit that sync button, I'm instantly turned off. That's like going to a concert and hearing somebody overdubbing. Like, no. Either beat match, or then change the tempo, or just figure a flair behind, all that kind of stuff. How much time I got left?
Oh, you got 2:15.
Yeah. 4. Also, the thing is, the DJs are devaluing the brand of of us DJs getting paid. Back in the day, if you did 3 parties in one night, we did a 2-hour set there, another 2-hour set there, another 2-hour set there. You walked out at least with $750, $800. Nowadays, you barely get 4. Because back in the days, DJs were getting paid. You know what I'm saying? 5th one, DJs nowadays are like promoters, graphic designers, and DJs. And because of the new era DJs of, I can bring out this much people. No. The job of as a DJ, yes, you bring out people, but the job of me is to keep people in the room.
Exactly.
And if the more people keep coming in the room, the better it looks for me. So don't look at me as, you're going to just take my crowd and then that's it. F you pay me. And also, to me, how much time I got left?
You have a minute 09.
That's just me. That's just me. That's my humble opinion. If any new DJ wants to come on here and battle me on it, we can go for it. You know what I'm saying? Because I have the old heads backing me up, and some of the new generation DJs. Where, like for example, I did a party, and I played "Bad Girl" by Usher, and the young DJ looked over my shoulder and said to me, "What's that?" And I was like, "You don't know what "Bad Girl" is from Usher?" Followed up by "Ain't No Way" with Chris Brown. That's when Chris Brown dropped the Chris Brown album, and the crowd was going wild. But I'm like, bro, you gotta have these kind of opening records. And also another thing too, which DJs piss me off, is they don't know the word of having an opening set, because they're too busy with the pop of music instead of having the opening set where you warm the crowd up and you just ruin the whole night. And I should see the floor. So anybody has any opinions about what I said? Come at me.
That was so spicy. That's just me.
So when you said he was turned off when somebody hit sync, was it like a really attractive girl yawning and he was just like, ugh? You always look wild when you yawn.
It was more or less, to me, I felt like you're robbing the craft. And I get it. There's there's some DJs who are veterans, and that sync button is so easy.
Mm-hmm.
It automatically beat matches for you, so and you can look at your screen and time it. There used to be a style, a way to beat match 2 songs that didn't belong together, but you made it work.
I think
like DJ AM, turntable. God rest his soul. He passed away.
Mm-hmm.
But he was one of the last guys to switch over. And he was so DJing so good. He was DJing on absolute, I think, relative mode, where the vinyl actually mimicked the song timing. And that's how sharp his cuts were. Like, he really, really was about the craft. But the new DJs with the controllers, like, anybody can pick up a controller and a laptop and plug it in and boom. And they can call themselves who they are. And then go to these clubs, get bookings, undercut the real DJs who make the money, and just ruin the craft.
And that is why when I learn, I want to know everything, because pressing play ain't enough.
No,
especially when because I put it like this, me and Intense have been on to a few outings, right? One of the outings we went was when we went to. Well, not even yesterday. One of the outings we went to is when we went to go see this Cali artist named Blast.
Mm-hmm. Oh, but that DJ. All right, go ahead.
Well, two things happened. There were two DJs.
Yes.
One of them was Funkmaster Flex.
He's opening set.
When you saw Funkmaster Flex DJ, it was like watching a YouTube tutorial.
Yeah. Watching a chef cook.
Class was in session. Yeah. Smooth cuts. He didn't stay on a song too long. No. He got to the point in and out. It didn't matter what the record was. It didn't matter when the record came out. It was just smooth.
Yes.
And it was incredible.
Then when the Blast DJ came on, it just felt like he was just too cool for school.
Yeah.
I'm Blast touring DJ and I'm here. And I'm just keep the vibe going until he gets here. No. Don't do that. Because I could be on that stage and take your spot.
Easily. Bro, it don't really be like that. I remember I went to another show where, like, as they were setting up the stage for, like, you know, the band equipment and stuff like that, they would just have a laptop and just be playing the music. There was no real engagement. You know, the only engagement was it depended what song was about to play next. Yeah. If the crowd was feeling it, the crowd was into it. If the crowd wasn't, it was over. There was no type of showmanship.
I'm just holding the fort here. Like, you know? the one thing that, and remember we spoke about in the podcast earlier, when they had that verse battle with the Locks versus Dipset.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
The Dipset DJ, what are you doing, bro?
Yeah.
Effing up.
No, but it trickled down to everybody. The DJ was bad, and it also showed you, like, that Dipset is just a crew of guys that are really cool, dress well, you like their music, but there's no cohesion on that live stage.
And watching that guy on Dipset's set DJ, it ticked me. Cause I'm like, yo, bro, I know 20 DJs right now that would have just said, just go up there. Yeah. Kick this dude off, go up there.
It's really sad. Like,
it was sad because I'm like, you're wasting opportunity. Look at Technician the DJ. Mm-hmm. Look at how much play he's been getting now from that first battle. And to me, he didn't really kill it, but he knew the assignment. It was an old school DJ.
Bro, what's not to know? You have two guys who pretty much epitomize the early era of hip hop, from fashion to lingo to street clothes to impact. And you're at MSG. It don't get no bigger than that, bro. You gotta show out.
And you're streaming worldwide.
Yeah.
On a verse battle. And you wet in the bed like that?
Mm-hmm. And you got Bruce Buffer announcing you guys.
Yes.
You got to show and prove, man.
Dude, I don't know if this guy was just a dude off the block or somebody's friend that had a laptop and he was the DJ back in the day. I knew it was some trouble on the first record he played.
The real question you got to ask yourself is, did they rehearse? Did they take it seriously?
No.
I'll tell you, I'm going to tell you an experience I had when I was bouncing in the TLA Theater. Back in the day, I remember they had Dipset. It was during the time when Cameron and Jim Jones and them weren't really talking. Mm-hmm. And I met Joel Santana. I met his twin brother. I met his girl. I met Frankie Zeke. Mm-hmm. And I didn't meet Jim Jones. At the time, he was like in the bag, like just a whole mess.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? And I seen the set, and the DJ was so horrible. He was missing cues. He was missing, drops, all this stuff in the third. It was so disgusting that I feel like at the end of the show, Dipset probably whoop ass and go for his ass.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Listen, he was so horrible. He embarrassing. Like, my boy was a DJ. He produced a beat with on the Violator album, Shine Through with Styles P. Mm-hmm. And he was DJing for my boy Dark Raw, and he killed it.
He's
from the Bronx, a rapper from the Bronx.
I know, but
he used to be with who, the girl. I know.
R,
yeah.
Who's the DJ?
I forgot his name. I know it was a white boy, tall white boy, little chunky, but he's the producer on one of the songs from Violator. I Come Through.
I'll check it out later. But
we'll look it up.
I know R spoke about her dealing with an artist like that.
And dude, it was so embarrassing that they stuck up the joint. Like, how the hell you went from like being multi-platinum artist to he barely able to hold the line at the TLA Theater?
See what I'm talking about?
As what you're saying, all I'm thinking about is that old clip on YouTube of Biggie on the live stage and throwing water at his DJ.
But that was
because
Big Cap.
The Big Cap. Yeah. Cap didn't do anything wrong. The records got warped.
Yeah,
and that happens for the heat.
Yeah.
As a DJ, when you have vinyl and you put on
This
that
shit
one,
melts.
and the sun's hitting that right there,
It melts.
It's gonna warp the record.
Yep.
Or try explaining to the dude with the microphone in his
I
hand.
get
in front
it.
of the crowd.
I understand, but
Yo.
Biggie was just being funny. And then back in the days, a
These
lot of the
F each other.
turntables
Yeah.
were made with belt-driven drives. So
Gotcha.
I can only imagine the heat hitting the record,
Yeah.
and then
It's
the
really
belt
frying
inside
the record.
inside the turntable,
Yeah.
probably rotting away too.
And
So
he was on MTV or was that Woodstock '94?
I think it was
I think it was Woodstock '94.
no,
Was he at Woodstock?
I think it was MTV.
It was
90
a festival.
It was a
didn't look
festival.
hot that day. I'll tell you that.
I think it was Woodstock '94. But he
long
was-
story short, the records got warped. So that's
He
not on him.
threw a water bottle at the dude's head.
Yeah,
and
because because you
he
heard the
was
record
pissed.
spinning and slowing and spinning. I'm like, that's not him. That's just the record.
yeah,
So
he was pissed.
so Big had to eat that.
He
So
could have covered up. He could have freestyled like
Yeah, Biggie should have, but Biggie was just saying,
He was in himself, like, yo,
Yeah.
come on, my guy.
But it's not him. It wasn't Cap. But back to what I was saying earlier, like,
Well, I think there's actually kind of a crossover here for other art styles too, because when you think about it, maybe it's the same thing that's been affecting a lot of art styles, which is the digitization.
yes,
and
that too.
the lack of the barrier to entry.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
back then, you had to learn how to do work the turntables and
Even being
same-
MC.
Yeah, and with photography, even with comedy, filmmaking,
Yeah.
the barriers to entry are smaller now. So
Yeah.
it's easier for somebody to walk down, pick up a YouTube tutorial, learn how to do it, and they're like, oh, I think I know it. And you kind of feel like you have the knowledge of it. So you go out and do it. And it's why, and like you're saying, you think that it might hurt the long-term lifespan of the industry. I think it did it to the indie film industry
Oh, yeah, definitely.
back in the early 2000s. Like the 2010s, where I think there was just so many people making things on digital that I think it clouded up the ability for any new artists to really get to the top there, which is why you don't have like a lot of Robert Rodriguez's or Kevin Smith's nowadays. Just people made it over that barrier to entry early on because they were using analog and they were using film cameras.
Oh, yeah.
And then you get to the early 2000s and then or the even 210s, and really the only people you really hear from that are maybe like Eli Roth, people who are still relatively connected. What's her name? The girl who had the show Girls on HBO.
Mm-hmm.
I
I know
can't
you're
remember.
talking
Lena Dunham?
Yeah,
Lena
Lena Dunham.
Dunham, yeah.
She got famous for a movie called Tiny Furniture. Best thing she ever made. Everything after that was
Crap.
not as great. Yeah,
Yeah.
Tiny Furniture is an amazing film. She made it for $50,000. But like again, for a movie to be made on $50,000 of a budget
It's
is
a miracle.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's an amazing. It's better than anything else she ever did. And I would check it out. It's a great movie. It shows what you can do on a budget.
Speaking of which, have you ever seen a movie called Murder Party?
I did not.
Pretty much about this guy who's been invited to a party. He found some random invitation to a Halloween costume party. Made a costume party on a cheap, like a cardboard night. Only found out the people he was attending the party with are trying to kill him. He's the guest of honor, and they try to kill him. It's a funny movie. You got to see it.
Is it an indie film?
Indie film on a budget, like super budget, and yet super cheap budget. And yet somehow it pulled the whole premise no problem.
See,
It was
that,
amazing.
think about what Louis P. did.
And see,
Yes.
that's
Remso
the
Carter.
universe of it, is that you can
Facts.
still make those good movies. You
Yeah.
can still make great
On the
art.
cheap.
Yeah.
Like on the cheap, and that's what it allows you to do. But
Yeah.
the problem is as a whole, it makes it hard for even like the great stuff that's being made on a budget to
be seen.
to be seen, to make it to the top. And that's just going to be a problem no matter what. And eventually you hope the cream rises
But
to
see,
the top.
but what happens now is
And add to the fact that all these companies are being swallowed up by all these bigger companies.
yeah, that's the other thing,
And pretty much
especially
it
with
kills
film.
the independent scene right there.
you see them in music right now. How many of these indie labels were indie now and now being bought up by Warner Brother and Universal and Sony
EMI, all
and
of
BMI?
them.
You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? But it's
Same in
funny
movies. It's the
what
same
you said
thing.
about the whole indie film. Like,
Well, Disney buying Fox.
yeah,
Yeah.
oh man, dude. Whew. Like
Ill power move.
I feel nowadays, like prime example. Remember back in the day in the early 2010s,
Yeah.
and you will say 2010 is about 2016. Everybody wanted to be a photographer.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that was the other thing I was going towards. Is
Everybody wanted to be
That was me.
a promoter.
Yeah.
And then what happened? It died out.
Yeah.
Same with the DJs.
Yeah.
But as I was coming up, everybody wanted to be a DJ.
Because-
But then when you looked around you, even right now, when you look around you, still, it's not a lot of us left anymore.
No, because know what it is? Everybody can just say, I can be DJ off my iPhone alone with one app, and I can just be my iTunes DJ. Like,
You can try it,
but it's not the
not
same. It's not the same. Like, dude, I was raised in the 80s BX where hip hop was born in. It's like, it's not the same without two turntables and a mic.
Yeah.
Even CDJs, it's not the same. Like I'm not a DJ.
Well, the CDJ,
head.
I think the CDJs,
It helped in a way.
it helped because now I could just put my records on CD and still do what I can do.
But nothing's gonna beat the fact they have 2 turntables.
Yeah, no. But now what you see, here's the funny thing now. But I've been seeing with a lot of the DJs, especially the ones who are like really doing it. A lot of them are ditching the controllers and going back to turntables.
As they should, because you know what it is? I feel like if everything in entertainment, everything comes full circle.
Oh yeah, because with direct vinyl, it's right there, so I could do more.
And
a controller and a CDJ and stuff. The sensor come through from the record top.
Yeah.
Through the media interface into your computer, so it's a little delay.
And the sound quality is so much better.
Oh yeah.
Still is. Record is still the best way to listen to music.
Dude.
Even with all this high fidelity stuff you hear on the likes of Apple Music and
Tidal or even Spotify.
Now it's catching up this channel now, but it's still nothing better than hearing something on vinyl.
You're not even lying, because I went to I was at Guitar Center, and I think Bruno Mars had an album right on the shelf in vinyl.
Like Silk Sonic is on vinyl.
It's on vinyl.
And that's the best way to listen to Silk Sonic's new album.
Well, even Bill Burr had a special on vinyl.
Yeah.
What a legend, Bill Burr.
Dude, any comic you listen on vinyl is the best way to listen to, like Richard Pryor, Red Fox. Dude, I heard Irving, that's the name of the title, Richard Pryor's album. When I heard it on vinyl, it was like actually being there at the concert.
Edit.
But that's the name of the album. I'm not lying. Like, yo.
What do you want to do? It's the name of the album.
It's the name of the
Well, at least I didn't say it. That'd be way worse.
An hour and 30
I commend you.
So it's spelled.
That would be a
hashtag.
real problem. That would get really canceled. But at least we'd be famous for getting canceled.
The
Like,
podcast is done. Good night, people.
But
I think people then become
Super
like, did they
fake
just sneak
Newton.
the random white dude on here? This is where you're gonna drop
Yeah,
it.
so
It's confusing.
No, fuck. Like,
dude, I just
He's
feel
the one who
like,
dropped it.
uh-oh.
no, it just
How do
What
we
happened
spin
after the
this?
podcast is what I really want to know.
Nah, this has nothing to do with
He went home.
with the
It's kinda
conversation
needed
we
him.
went down. But when you guys was mentioning like indie movies, I was thinking about like indie movies that I've seen like in the past years on like countless blogs. One of the movies that strike me that I saw because I kept seeing this movie everywhere, hearing about it everywhere at the time. I forgot what year it came out, but it was a French movie. It's called Bleu is the Warmest Color.
I heard that movie.
I've never seen such an Oscar snub in my life, and that's how I knew. Nobody's above the Oscar snub. I'm talking about this movie was on countless blogs. Pretty much it's about this French girl who is out of school and stuff like that. And, she's, it's a bit of coming of age type stuff. Mm-hmm. And she starts exploring her sexuality and gets into various relationships and things like that. And it was a good movie. But I was highly surprised there was no nominations. Like, I'm talking about when you see something on countless things, it's like there got to be something right about it.
Yeah.
I'll say this with the Oscars. I mean, I maybe because I stopped paying attention like almost a decade ago because they just don't recognize anything that's like worth it. Like it's literally just a mutual eggplant stroking fest.
Yep.
Pretty much.
I've been practicing. How do you say things on TikTok without saying on TikTok? That's one of those things. Is like you have to be like, yeah, it's a mutual eggplant stroking
It's
fest.
a shake weight wave.
Yeah, like
Pretty much. It's a circle J.
It's who campaign. It's literally a political campaign.
It
who
is.
campaign for it the most? That's what it is.
Hence for
So-
consideration.
Yeah, so that's
Where
why.
could Frank put his foot?
Who produced this movie? Who's well connected?
Like, it's a miracle that Jordan Peele won for Get Out.
Yes,
It was a miracle. On his first time out. It was a miracle.
Him becoming a filmmaker was such an amazingly like going from being like a guy who's known for comedy,
Yeah.
and like for kind of sketch comedy and stand-up comedy to go to that, and I was just like, oh, that's wow.
He had the park on his first try.
Yeah.
But that's because he knew that's what he wanted to do like 10 years out.
Yeah.
He was building towards that. I didn't know that was like kind of the thing he was like, that was always in the back of his head that that's what he wanted to do.
Yeah.
And it makes sense from now. But like it's such a strange thing. Like outside when you don't know that story, you're like, wow, that guy went from like stand-up comedy and sketch comedy to making an amazing movie that is very, very
Cult phenomenon with that one right there.
That's how I feel about
Paul
Donald Glover.
whole phenomenon, but also just like the themes that it touches on, just how he touches on those things is. It's like, wow, okay, like
It's not even preachy. It's very subtle.
yeah, that's the great thing with it. The subtlety is, but the thing that I find, like, you could have directors been doing this for 20 years who can't do that.
Exactly.
That's what's impressive with it.
On his first time out, you're like Quentin Tarantino, which should be a movie like Get Out. And Quentin Tarantino is one of the best filmmakers of all time.
Yeah.
And he couldn't make a movie like Get Out on his first try.
No.
He made Reservoir Dogs. He made the movie, but it was nothing new as in... Like,
It's more of like a
out of nowhere.
I would compare it to like, it's like Reservoir Dogs is like fun,
Yeah.
but like the substance of Reservoir Dogs is there's not like Get Out has substance to it.
Exactly.
That's what makes Get Out a great movie. What like I love Pulp Fiction. It's one of my favorite movies. Yeah. But at the end of the day, like even that, like the substance of Pulp Fiction is that it is not like it's not saying something much bigger than what it is. Yeah. It's an homage to an older time. It looks cool. It's very stylized. The dialogue in some of it is amazing. And some of the it's like it's an homage to like the 50s, like as far as visual style. He went ahead and shot on like he tried to get as close to Technicolor visual as you could. That stuff was all amazing. But as to like the themes and like plot, like the theme of the movie, like what's the theme of Pulp Fiction? Like there's a
what's
theme
in a briefcase? Like that's what it was.
That's not even a theme. That's just like a MacGuffin. That's it's like it's a throwback to the old like like noir books and noir films, and that's what it is. But it doesn't like Get Out has like as a theme to it. It's like I said, it has something to it. It's saying something bigger than what it is. That's what makes it a great movie. That was the problem with Nolan's Inception, was that it's a visually interesting movie, but very long. I was never really a big fan of Inception. And then on top of that, there's not really saying anything more than what it is. And it's a movie that's asking for something to be about something else. Like for people who made it sound like it's such a smart movie, it's not really saying anything.
That was just too drawn out.
So I remember when and I
are we all not Inception fans here? Because I like
Inception.
Okay, you do like Inception. So you hate me right now. Oh, gotcha.
No, I like it, bro.
You're like, you just don't get it. I get it. No.
So I want those uncultured swines. Like,
oh my god.
I remember the time frame when it was.
I'm just messing with you.
When Hidden Figures and Moonlight dropped, I saw both movies the same day.
Dude, that movie got so much backlash from the black community. Moonlight.
It did, but at the same time, I didn't mind it because it was different in terms of how it was constructed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It was essentially a play within a movie.
Yeah.
Yes.
And everything you just had to just fill in the blanks and assume
Yeah.
what happened. It was very different compared to what we were used to,
Exactly.
for the most part. And my thing is like, it was an interesting movie. Listen, they could have backlash all they want. All I know is there is someone on this planet who could relate to this story.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So my thing was just like, when it won Best Picture, I said to myself, I've never seen the Oscars get this wrong. Was this planned? Think about that. Because they said La La Land, but then a whole bunch of people walked up and said, no, that's wrong. Moonlight won for Best Picture. And that's still a big controversy because
wasn't the car that was La La Land?
So La La Land did really well.
Yeah, I remember that.
And one of the most shocking things for me when La La Land, and again, I never seen the movie.
Did it win best? It won best what?
Best song, I think.
It won some awards,
or choreography.
But to me, the most shocking thing was,
I remember there being something I can't remember. Now.
Or like a best supporting something like that.
I was shocked when Emma Stone won it for Best Actress. Granted, I rate Emma Stone as an actress. I never thought she would win Best Actress for that.
For musical. Yeah.
I thought it'd be something a little bit more significant. But who am I to judge? I've never seen La La Land. But my thing is like, I've just never seen the Oscars get that wrong. Because that is the biggest award. Best
film.
Best film picture. So yeah, I'm sure it was in the running, but then you say it and it wasn't the one. It's just like, it makes me think like, what are we doing here?
You can't say Oscar doesn't get it wrong because remember,
get it wrong a lot.
The Color Purple should have won Best Picture.
No,
but it lost out of Africa.
No, what I mean.
And does anybody ever bring that film up again? Out of Africa?
No. Color Purple all the time.
Yes.
I'm not
30 years later.
Wrong a lot.
No, I'm not talking in that context. I'm talking based on the fact that they picked the winner, but they announced the wrong winner.
Yeah, Harvey.
That's what I mean.
Oh, you mean Paul C. Harvey?
Yeah, I've never seen that before, and I was like, "Wow!" I was blown away. I was like, "What?"
Yeah, and I was like, "Wait, did that shit on live television?"
Yeah, it was live television. Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, they've got a lot of things wrong. I mean, Idris Elba not getting recognized for Beast of No Nation was incredible to me. Dude. That is one of the honestly, and I like when he does the movies that are not blockbuster.
Yeah,
you know, okay, we're driving out to sea because he's the draw.
Yeah, go to the Angelica Theater or the BAM theater in the city to get to see those films.
When he does like the indie type of movies where like it's a little like he's a hell of an actor. That movie, sensational movie.
Check it out.
Gotta check that out.
Dude, it's on Netflix and dude,
it's dark, but it's good.
It's soul crushing.
It's gonna mess you up. I ain't gonna lie, but his performance is amazing.
All right,
be ready.
We'll take a quick break and we're gonna get to the hot topics. DJ Intense here with another song of the episode. This is the songs of the episode number 2. Shout out to the good folks at Innovative Music, and this is SingerSlime featuring Young Bleu with the song titled "I Want You." You remember where you heard it first? Live at On the Record Podcast.
Both going crazy. Focus on your energy. If you ain't really down, you my enemy. Oh, I ain't got time to play those games. Can't even call her by her name. What are we doing this for? Ain't no one around. Now I ain't lying when I tell you that I love you. We can't hit the ground. Now I'm flying and there's no one else above you. So many pretty girls surrounding me tonight, but you're the only girl in here that got my eye. I know I want you. Gotta know you want me. Do you love me? What you love me for? If you love me, could you love me more?
I want more of you. Chopping sprees when you need me, baby. I'm Christian Dior in you. Wanna build this relationship. You say your last one was horrible. I get it, you traumatized, now you superstitious. No kids, but you was ready for a new addition. But I wasn't ready for commitment, maybe I ain't see the vision, hey. But I'm in love with you. Let my guard down, don't let me down, baby. I put my trust in you. It's crazy how it goes.
Exciting times. We're here again, and we're going to complete the journey. So, as you know, Mr. Wall here is an expert at law.
I wouldn't say expert. I would say like
He's more qualified than any of us in here.
Rhodes Scholar.
Okay, he's a Rhodes Scholar, right?
Well equipped.
He's well equipped.
No,
More
my
than
senator is a
10,000
Rhodes
hours.
Scholar. Cory Booker is a Rhodes Scholar. I'm
So,
I got a scholar on the road. That's driving back and
if
forth
you've
from
been
Newark.
under a rock,
You make it sound like you just picked up the degree like in Mario Kart. Oop.
Basically, yeah. Made around the track a
he
few
ran
times.
over the question mark and got it.
Blue,
Got hit with a couple of blue shells on the way.
I got the start. I'm good.
You're that guy, huh? You're that
I
guy.
got the end that those blue shells actually like, no! I'm at the 1 yard line. I'm going to win.
The worst is the lightning thing. That was the worst.
Oh, that's freaking Ray. Oh my god.
You just get run over by somebody. Like,
I see about two. And I thought that blue shell so fast.
So many curse words. They're no races.
I can see you. Won't be the guy. Oh no! Won't be the guy. Like,
always the quiet one.
Here's a banana peel.
It's always the quiet one. You know, worry about it.
Behind you.
Man.
In Mario
He's not
Kart.
throwing it, he's throwing it behind him, so you can
You have the banana peel right there behind him.
Yeah.
Just wait for you, wait for you. Boom! Let it go.
I ain't gonna say much. I'll let you know, thinking that you got this, and
you
second place.
More like you might drop to like third or fourth because you know that everyone's speeding behind you. Anyways, so he's the Rhodes Scholar here. So the Supreme Court justices have been ruling a lot in the past couple of days. Shall we begin? Said he said.
All right. censor this part. What's the time mark this one real quick?
Oh, dude, this is no behavior with you. I go through all of the stuff in.
All right, I'm in a pocket right now. Like they're out of their damn mind, man. Like, yo, what in the is going on? But we knew this was gonna happen because we predicted this since 2016.
The opinion dropped months ago.
Yeah,
it got leaked out.
Yeah, well,
first time like ever that's happened.
Yeah,
it leaked. Yeah, and
it leaked.
But you don't usually have leaks like that. This isn't like the NFL where it's like Adam Schefter's like leaking somebody, like signing with somebody.
Did they ever find out who leaked that?
No, and I hope they never do. Although who cares at this point? It doesn't matter. They made the decision. Like it would be different if they changed their mind.
Exactly.
So was it 5-4 or 6-3?
6-3.
Well, it's a little bit.
Some said it was 5-4.
It's 5-4 on overturning Roe v. Wade. Roberts concurred. But as to the judgment only, not as to overturning Roe v. Wade, he said he would have shortened it to 15 weeks and kept the Missouri law as the 15-week post 15-week ban. So that's what would have happened if Roberts got his way. He concurred in judgment only, not in the opinion. So it's a 5-4 as far as overturning Roe v. Wade.
Okay, so they overturned Roe v. Wade. If you guys remember, we spoke about before. The back history was there was a woman from Texas, right?
As far as the Missouri case?
No, from the original Roe versus Wade.
Oh, Roe v. Wade.
Yeah,
okay.
It was a woman from Texas that wanted to get an abortion, and she couldn't, and she sued the state she sued the state of Texas, right? You break the story down because you're the.
Well, I think the general thing to focus on here is that Roe v. Wade set a precedent, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And for the last 50 years, since 1972, there's been you've had the right to have an abortion. And the opinion is a very weirdly written opinion. It's not like other landmark decisions where. Like for instance, like Brown versus Board of Education is one of the it's actually the most succinct opinion. I think they actually it was purposely written in a way to basically reach general audiences.
Yeah,
is that separate but equal? And this is my friend John's favorite case because he loves to cite this portion of it. It was so simply written that it could be printed in a newspaper and everybody can get it, which is separate and equal is not. Is not you cannot be separate but unequal, and it was written in such a way to do that. Whereas Roe v. Wade is written focusing on the right to privacy and how it's in the penumbras of the amendments, right? So and they focus on different spheres of the amendments. They talk about the Third Amendment, they talk about the Ninth Amendment, one of the rare times that those two are ever mentioned, but basically saying that in the Bill of Rights there's an implied right to privacy, and that the right to control one's body is specific, is important for being able to live your life and to being equal to another person, right? A man doesn't have to go through that process. So for a woman to have to make a decision on that is the equivalent of a man not having to make that decision. So Roe v. Wade has been a longstanding precedent. It's called a substantive due process case, which is basically saying that there are certain rights that are not actually enumerated in the Constitution, but we imply them from a right to privacy, and it was used as a basis for a lot of cases, including Loving v. Virginia, which is the interracial marriage case, Griswold versus Connecticut, which is the birth control case. Roe v. Wade is in this case. Lawrence v. Texas is the right to same-sex couples to have not to be married, but to have intercourse, and Oberfell, which is the case that allowed for gay marriage. And it is the basis for all of those cases. It is.
What about the one? I think the one in PA.
PA.
Something Planned Parenthood versus the government.
Oh, well, there's Casey versus Planned Parenthood.
Yeah, that one.
Which is the other case that was overturned by the Dobbs opinion that was just released on Friday.
Oh, they overturned that too?
Yeah. Well, Casey is a continuation of Roe v. Wade, and that was decided many years later. And that was a plurality opinion, and it was a hotly discussed, contested opinion. I think it was Justice Stevens, one of the few cases, one of his earliest cases. Nobody knew how Stevens was going to go ahead and vote on this, but it was basically a negotiated opinion. You had three justices who actually drafted this opinion together. I believe it was Stevens. It was a lot of conservative justices. The weird thing is,
Yeah, I said it.
what?
Scott.
No, Stevens helped save Roe v. Wade in Casey versus Planned Parenthood.
It's Alito, right?
Yeah, Alito. Yeah,
Take away to Alito and his broken penis. That's my theory. I think no. Stevens is no longer on the Supreme Court. Stevens was a surprise vote into protecting Roe v. Wade because that's Casey versus Planned Parenthood created this kind of idea of when you are allowed to have basically set up the structure for when is something too restrictive on abortion, right? Mm-hmm. And it really focused on things like, for instance, restrictions on abortion, like do you have to inform the father in order to have an abortion? Counseling, like do you have to have a 24-hour counseling period? The ultrasounds, things like that. And that was where we got a balancing test. That was one of the times where we heard a bit about intermediate scrutiny, which is basically the scrutiny used to discuss gender-based or sex-based cases, compared to it's called intermediate scrutiny, but whereas there's strict scrutiny, which is what you would base race-based cases off of. So if you had a law that was a race-based case, you would base it on strict scrutiny, which means it has to be narrowly tailored for a legitimate government purpose, which is why you almost never hear of anything beating strict scrutiny, although it is possible. Intermediate scrutiny is a little bit broader, and then you have rational basis, which is the broadest form of scrutiny for a law, and that's the basis for which you would interpret, laws written by a state and how to evaluate them. So if you have to go up against strict scrutiny, a lot of times you just won't win, and a lot of times you have to go up against a rational basis. Most of the time you do win. Okay. That's not necessarily always the case, but that's kind of like the layman's version of, hey, what's strict scrutiny, intermediate scrutiny, and rational basis? Well, that's kind of like strict scrutiny is the hardest one to beat. Intermediate scrutiny is a lot more about gender and sex, because we do acknowledge that gender and sex have some basis in society, and some there's sometimes reasons why you would make some rules regarding sex that don't apply to the other gender. But again, it has to meet this certain burden, and then you have rational basis, and that was kind of the start of those cases as well. But generally speaking, it had mostly to do with what restrictions can you put on abortion, and how do you evaluate that, right? Yeah. Casey versus Planned Parenthood. So, for instance, having to notify the husband was deemed that's too much, right? Yeah. Because here's the thing, like, why should you have to notify somebody you've had sex with, the father of the child? You're giving another adult, the ability to veto your ability to have an abortion. That didn't seem right. Whereas you compare to, well, what's the harm in allowing for a 24-hour counseling period, right? And that's basically how you evaluated all these cases from Casey versus Planned Parenthood to now is, what were these restrictions you were putting on abortion, and how did they inhibit the person from getting an abortion, right? And some of these are a little bit more fact-based. For instance, is a 24-hour or 48-hour waiting period a restriction that is overly burdensome? Well, to a rich person, maybe not. Maybe they live close to maybe you live in a state where you have a bunch of abortion clinics where it's accessible, compared to, if you're a poor person, doesn't live near an abortion clinic, it's a far distance. 24-hour waiting period might be a lot. It might be a lot to expend on this. And that was kind of why, Sandra Day O'Connor was one of the people who wrote that opinion. Yeah. Although it does not say who wrote what parts of the opinion. But Sandra Day O'Connor was a famous member of the Supreme Court who also was a part of that opinion. So that was Stevens, Sandra Day O'Connor. I'm trying to remember who was the third one off the top of my head. Been a while since I read Casey versus Planned Parenthood or Roe v. Wade. I probably should have, just in the markup of all the stuff that's been going on with Dobbs. No. But that's why, the specific facts to the case, to me, don't really matter, because it's really more of the eventual, basically the holdings of those cases, which the holding of Dobbs is that Casey versus Planned Parenthood and Roe v. Wade were incorrect.
I have two things.
Yeah.
Sorry to cut you.
No, go right ahead.
I have one's a side question,
because otherwise I won't shut up.
And the other one, no, you good. This is some fascinating information. The statement I wanted to make,
not as fun as the Johnny Depp case, though.
Yeah, that was sensational. That was a different time. Man, that's one for the
Those are good
scrapbooks.
times. Those are good times
for the decade, for sure. Before Roe versus Wade was recently overturned, I did hear, and I don't know how much of it, if it's accurate or not, that if the man wants the child, he can legally petition to make that woman have the baby. Was that a thing?
No, and that was one of the things about Casey versus Planned Parenthood. There might have been attempts to make that into a law. Like, for instance, there have been states that, in fact, Texas had a law that made it a civil case that you could sue on behalf of the unborn infant to try to for monetary damages. You couldn't inhibit them from having the abortion, but you could sue them for monetary damages for having the abortion on behalf of the infant. It was a weird, stupid try to work around law, but it was upheld last year. That was
upheld?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It was and that was the start of the end of Roe v. Wade.
Do you know how crazy that sounds?
Yeah.
On behalf of the infant.
So they can sue you.
It was a way to work around to try to, like, hey, while we know this is still technically illegal, like, until Missouri's law makes it, like, before Missouri goes ahead and made the 15-week ban and took that up to the Supreme Court with Dobbs, that was the next workaround to seeing if they can get, hey, can we, whoever makes it into the Supreme Court, at the time maybe Kavanaugh, right?
Yeah.
Maybe they're sitting there going, like, maybe Kavanaugh will be okay with this, and he wouldn't be okay with fully overturning Roe v. Wade. You have, Justice Roberts there. Maybe Roberts would be willing to come over to our side. I don't think at the time when that statute was being written that Amy Coney Barrett had actually been in place yet. I'm not entirely sure, trying to remember back to then. But the idea was trying to find workarounds that can make it up to the Supreme Court so that they could eventually either overturn Roe v. Wade or make it ineffective, right? Because then you could, if that case had worked, you could have other states allowing for these civil cases. Now, Dobbs makes that obsolete. You don't even have to worry about that because now states can criminalize it. And that's going to be the issue that you have going forward because they just overturned it.
Yeah, and then I saw them talking about trigger laws.
So trigger laws are things that go into effect that, again, once that case was decided, go ahead and make it illegal on that moment. Now, some states have had their trigger laws stopped, and Louisiana's trigger law, I believe, has actually just been stopped by a Louisiana judge and has been enjoined from happening. So that's one thing that's been going on. You have the trigger laws. Some of them have been enjoined. Some states have pre-existing abortion laws. You're not sure if those are working or active. That's kind of the issue in Wisconsin right now.
I know in Missouri, as soon as which went into effect, it already triggered like that, and then the
Attorney General just had to sign it into law. Yeah,
and right now, as of yesterday, the Planned Parenthood in Missouri is now
obsolete. It's
done. You can't operate or they'll be facing criminal charges.
Yes.
Do you think there's a correlation between, and this is like, if you don't decide to, this is if the woman doesn't decide to have an abortion, do you think that same, perspective is a correlation with how they view fathers as second-class citizens when it comes to custody?
Well, here's the thing. I think we had the better argument before this case, right? You had the better argument as far as custody and that kind of stuff before this case because you could say, well, I didn't choose to be a father. They had the option to go ahead and abort it. They didn't abort it. If I want to be involved in the child's life, they decide to have the child. Then I think there's a better argument there for either wanting to, like, I know some states have been trying to fix some of the custody issues, trying to fix some of the child support issues. And I think you had a better case for the people who wanted to fix those issues, whether you wanted to maybe if you didn't want to be a father, wanting to move beyond that and say, hey, I don't want to be a father. You had the baby without my consent. You go ahead. I think you had a better argument before Roe v. Wade was overturned than you do now, because now it's not her choice anymore. And now why should it be your choice? Because if she can't make the choice, why should the dude be allowed to make the choice? And this is why I think that's kind of like, as guys, I think dudes should be very angry about it.
Exactly.
I think young men should be angry about it for a lot of reasons. One, women are going to be way less likely to procreate with you. For funsies. They're going to really want to vet your procreating status. And you
would think take a trip to New York.
Yeah.
Be on strike.
You got to take a trip to New York and get a Plan B pill now.
Well, they do say women are more mature than us. Well, you would think that would be the case with these young girls. But,
you might have a lot of bisexual women saying, I'm not going to be going towards the male code anymore because
you're right. You're absolutely right.
You know when these women nowadays, these new age girls, they don't strap it up.
No, it wasn't just new age girls.
What's about strapping it up? It's not about. What do you mean strapping it up?
Like getting the condom.
Oh, you're talking about condoms. Okay, they're talking about the other kind of strap.
Oh, hey, yeah.
No.
I don't know, man. TikTok has got all that.
I'm not.
But you can't
Leave
really.
my booty hole alone.
Okay, we were talking about it.
We're not. It's not just new age.
But they might too. They might be like, hey, the booty hole is well.
It's
all.
It's women around your age, women around my age. You know, a decade ago, that was quote unquote,
team free.
Doing what they wanted to do, and after they realized the guy was a deadbeat and stuff like that, they were now they want to vet. It's like, oh, we're all good. No, they don't get that pass.
I don't know. It's like I saw some people with that same argument online this morning, and I was like, oh, that's mad. Like, one-sided. Like, it's not only on the woman itself, it's the guy as well.
It's on everybody's
two to tango.
Yeah.
If you weren't thinking, you weren't strapped up on both sides, don't take no contraceptives, y'all both at fault for this life that shouldn't be here.
Yeah. And deal with it. But it's just now what I think this whole what got me triggered with the whole Roe versus Wade wasn't the fact okay, abortions in some places can't be legal. Yeah. It was that some of the amendments they had in there was kind of crazy. Like, if you're raped or if it's incest, it's still like I'm like, whoa, talk about like, and if you have a medical emergency, you might get an abortion. It's criminal.
This is the thing. So I had this discussion that I think we were talking about it earlier. There was the 3 a.m. discussion where somebody got never have these discussions at 3 a.m. with drunk people.
Oh yeah.
But I was at a party. And the one thing that the guy got really upset about is he made a big deal that in almost every one of the states that are passing these statutes, they almost all have an exception for the life of the mother or the health of the mother. But here's the problem here. Now you have turned a right into an exception, right? You now are going to make it so that person now has to prove. And a lot of times it's the provider that's going to have to prove it later on that what they are doing is within the law, is that this is at risk to the health of the mother. Here's a fun fact. Being pregnant is automatically less healthy for you than not being pregnant.
Exactly.
So at what point is the health of the mother in danger? Is it 20%, 50%? What if the child is going to, possibly be born, stillborn? At what point do you say we're calling it on this, that it's putting the risk of the mother at higher risk than the unborn child?
Those level of nuances is slippery soap. It contradicts the whole thing.
He said,
yeah.
One of my homeboys, love him to death.
Yeah.
They have their son.
Yeah.
The son nearly killed the mother of her giving birth to this kid. Like, she could have died.
Yeah.
And that's what he said. I'm like, it's a fact.
And in some states, that won't even be the
option. You have to go forward it.
Again, force. So pretty much, you're willing to let the mother die.
Yes.
Just to keep that life.
Kill two birds with one stone.
And those two people will die.
And again, even in the states where it's a quote unquote exception, it's now you're going to have doctors hesitating to pull the trigger. Yeah. They're going to be sitting there going like, well, if I do this and then the state says I did it incorrectly, or that like now that a prosecutor wants to go ahead and investigate this case, I'm going to be indicted. How many doctors want to go home to their families at night? Like, that's at the end of the day, that's what they're going to probably be more worried about than the woman who's sitting on the table. You've just made it way harder for people to have children.
And think about what you said. You have these are doctors that spent countless of hours on their degrees,
and they took an oath.
And they took an oth.
Yeah.
And now my degree and my education, my livelihood, because I have to save a life.
Yeah.
Like, I would think a Hippocratic oath goes above this court decision, but then now you're playing with fire, because it's like, if I go keep my Hippocratic oath, there's a strong chance I'm going to be going to jail for 15 to 20 years in certain states.
That's unnecessary pressure to have in a very hostile, very pressure situation where you're dealing with human life. And like the last thing I should be thinking about is my livelihood and indictments.
No.
While I'm trying to save this woman and her child.
And you know what? You know what's the highest malpractice insurance of all doctors is OBGYNs.
Yep.
So they're already in a high pressure situation. They're already delivering babies. And the reason why they have the highest malpractice insurance is because guess what? People are upset if you screw up their children.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And now you've added a situation into this where there is another bullet in the chamber of now there's criminal charges for being a doctor and handling these cases. And it's going to make it almost impossible. By the way, we also live in a country where healthcare is not guaranteed.
Hello.
And at the highest mortality rate in the developed world.
Yeah.
Hello.
Like, how are you forcing people to have babies, but you're not covering the expense of the babies?
Or have no universal health care, no paid leave to raise the kid, no programs to help subsidize the financial burden of bringing the kid up.
Yeah.
Like, nothing.
And then they want to talk about, we put them for adoption. You know how many kids pass through that system?
There's over 426,000 kids in adoption as we speak right now.
See?
And none of these pro-life are adopting one of those kids.
Go adopt them right now.
Also, have you seen some of these people who are like, I'll adopt your kid? I don't want my kid being adopted by you.
Yeah, exactly. You kill them. Like,
remember, what was that lady?
That movie in Atlanta. Remember those episode of Atlanta?
Yeah, I was going to say, that lady that drove their kids off the cliff?
Crazy.
I have to go back to watching
The first episode of the newest season have a story. Remember that kid who hugged the cop at that protest in Minnesota? The kid with the fedora who hugged the cop. This episode is basically based on what happened to that kid. He was killed by his foster parents.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
And it was him and 3 other siblings.
Yeah,
that were killed.
What you guys are saying brings me to my next point. Even though we know how this could be solved. But, but from a legal standpoint, I just hate that, some guys find themselves in this predicament. Now, how do you guys feel about a quote-unquote man, trusting his lady, putting his name on that birth certificate, and the baby's not his, but he's still legally obligated to...
We spoke about this last week,
I'm just saying.
So here's the thing, though.
I'm just saying.
That's one of those things that I agree that, we want, as men, we want changes in this system as well.
Yeah.
But it becomes hard to make arguments for those changes when you have things like this going on, that it's like, well, now there's bigger precedent. There's bigger things to focus on. We could have probably fixed things like that, where you have people whose names are on birth certificates, and now they're presumed to be the father, and those kind of issues, states making it harder to deal with that kind of an issue.
So do you think it should be mandated, though, that we just have these tests?
Paternity tests.
To take out the awkward tension, obviously.
Do I think it should be mandatory that you have the paternity test? I mean, I don't have a problem with that. I have no problem with if you're willing to waive that thing. If you want to have it, you can have it. I have no problem with that. I have no problem with. I think the bigger issue I have is with the issue of being able to take your name off of it and not being obligated to pay it. And if somebody's lying to you about who's the child's father, I think that's kind of an issue. A bigger issue.
Payback for lying about that.
Yeah. But again, we now lost any fight on that hill that we might have had, because now we're dealing with this crazy potential.
Yeah.
And now these are wide open to lose contraceptives. Mm-hmm. We can't have vasectomies anymore. All this stuff that we could have had, everybody go on the chopping block, same-sex marriage, and now, contrary to what Clarence Thomas thinks, Loving versus Virginia is on the chopping block as well. Interracial marriages.
Yeah, it's all about substantive due process cases that they're not in the Constitution, but you're implying it from the 14th Amendment and then these ancillary amendments like the 4th and the 5th, and you're saying there's a right to privacy and there's a due process to taking away these rights, and that there's these things that exist, by being an American, that you're not allowed to take them away, and the right to bodily autonomy. There's going to be questions about HIPAA now, whether HIPAA is enforceable, whether HIPAA is going to be the next.
They literally broke the medical system of America by doing what they did.
And when you see all these polls from different news sources, it's always the same consensus. If 60% of people want to keep this here, why the hell would you go turn it around?
Because it's the agenda in plain sight.
I understand.
He had what's name, Mary Miller, who's a previous. I'm gonna call her what she is. She's a Nazi.
Oh, her
from Illinois.
That little dust bucket.
That little goose stepper herself.
I call it dust bucket.
She pretty much said
about white life.
I love the phrase goose stepper. I always forget what it means, and then people remind. Oh, I forgot that was a phrase. I feel like that doesn't get used enough.
Not really, but I'll bring it back.
This guy pulls out his ass all the time.
I'm gonna bring it out.
The last time I heard somebody use goose stepper, they were referring. Do you watch the show The Boys?
Yes.
Oh, they were talking about the Nazi Stormfront. Yeah, because a friend of mine looks exactly like the actress, and somebody was hitting on her on Tinder, and she goes, and the guy goes, "You look like Stormfront from The Boys." I'm like, well, that's a great come on line. But she's like, but she does look like her. And she's like, great, just why I want to be a goose stepping Nazi superhero.
Oh my God.
But then she's like, but I might go to Comic-Con as her.
It might as well.
Because she already looks like her. But
which Comic-Con we're talking about? New York or LA?
New York. Well,
Did
she
you
lives right
imagine
here.
a swastika as
New
a
York?
tramp stamp?
Well, as long as you're not doing the full swastika.
Remember, the original one didn't have no swastika on that person. They make overtly Nazi. He was undercover. He worked for Payback. He wasn't. People knew, but it was an open secret. They knew he got vicious. He was a racist. but he's the reason why Vaught was making so much money. Sitting in the storefront in this TV show. The guy, Stan Edgar, knew the woman's a Nazi. And the guy, Butcher Cole out, like, yo, you realize one of your biggest money makers is a Nazi, right? How you support her, you being a black man running with a Nazi. Listen, man, money does no racism.
Yeah, he's a mercenary. See? Tell you.
Stan Edgar said it point blank. Money does no racism.
That's exactly what it was.
And that's the thing with Clarence Thomas. Money makes you. Money does have a racism to it. It makes you overlook the racism.
Yeah. But you know what it is? Some people think because of money, you're not an N-word. And I think it's slow because if Dr. Dre could get arrested in front of his house in Malibu, California, over a dispute with his neighbor, and they picked the neighbor over him, he's famous, mind you. Yeah. And he still got arrested in front of his house.
Listen,
don't forget when they sprayed him on LeBron James' house.
I have a lifetime.
Oh, they sprayed the N-word all over his house.
Yeah,
I have a lifetime job. My insurance is exceptional. I like my croissants and I like my well squeezed orange. I'm not going back. Seti.
Listen.
If
I
gotta shuck and jive,
you and your Miss Piggy wife need to go bye-bye and go to jail.
Shuck and jive and keep my pension in my lifetime job.
Having ass.
Forget about these contraceptions.
Steven from Django Unchained. No. You gotta go.
I got happy feet. I'm in a different tax bracket, man.
Make sure that you don't have no kids no more, boss.
Man,
make sure you have kids.
He's opening Pandora's box. Go ahead, bro.
And that's what blew my mind because this guy did what he did.
The fast one in the club, and you'll be all right.
He's doing this, but he knows he leaves it wide open because now your thing that you're pretty much in plain sight, the interracial marriage might be a thing of the past. Your marriage might be illegal.
Yeah. Well, it's also weird that he's the one who wrote that concurrence, right? It's like he was the one person who wrote that opinion. Now, everybody's going to point to, well, the other justices didn't join in his concurrent opinion where he's sitting there and saying that they should overturn these other substantive due process cases, dealing with Griswold, dealing with Lawrence v. Texas, dealing with Loving v. Virginia. But here's the thing. They don't have to right now. Those cases aren't right. They could have maybe overturned substantive due process, but they can do it later on anyway.
I don't trust them. That's the problem. I do not trust them because if they have this momentum now, why stop?
Yeah, they don't have to stick to the idea of, well, why are we overturning that case and not these cases, right? Because Alito addresses it a little bit in the stare decisis argument, which is basically cases are, people have to rely on case law, right? Everybody's been relying on Roe v. Wade. They rely for it on case law currently with how basically we just described it, our whole medical system's, structured around Roe v. Wade, but also with the existing case law around it, substantive due process. There's tons of rights that are tied to this case.
Exactly.
Even that are maybe not even derivatives of Loving versus Virginia and Griswold existed before.
Yeah.
But they are tied to the same concept.
Exactly.
And because right to privacy, stare decisis here would say, okay, this is an existing thing that we all have a right to. If you're pulling apart that right, what's preventing you from pulling apart the other rights? And Alito tries to say, well, we're not going to do that because, first off, it's they point mainly to the potential life of the fetus, right? Which, it's kind of a weak argument there because here's what I look at it as. Even if you are going to capitulate to the argument that a fetus is a life, right? At any stage of the development, there is no duty in America to help a life that you have not expressly agreed to help. There is no previously existing duty to pull over on the side of the road and help somebody who's having a heart attack, to stop somebody from killing another person, unless you have accepted that duty. Unless you are a doctor who's pulled over to the side of the road and has already established that you are helping somebody. Until you've taken that duty on, there is no other situation where you've accepted that duty to provide sustenance or life to another person. Why does it exist in this case?
I mean, it works for the police.
Even the police. The Uvalde thing.
Gonzalez versus Castle Rock.
Yeah,
prime example.
I'm just gonna run with this take because I think because of everything that's transpiring, it's gonna happen at some point. When we start hearing about these politicians and their mistress is disappearing, you'll know why.
They're just gonna go to blue states. That's all they're gonna do.
Pretty much. That's what's gonna happen. And honestly,
because they're not gonna drown.
If the blue states had any moral backbone, they need to prevent these assholes from getting the abortions in their states. If you're a person who's of the poor class, middle class, who needs an abortion, you come on through. If you're one of these politicians' baby mamas, we love carry that baby to term. Peace out. You think they what states can do? We can do what in New York and LA.
She might be in a black bag with a toe tag. She try to carry that.
That's not our problem. Take that aspect to Alabama. That's our problem.
I'm just saying.
That's the other problem with this, right?
Yeah.
Is the number one cause of death for people who are pregnant, for women who are pregnant, is murder.
Yeah.
You've
You're
just increased the likelihood that women are going to get murdered in this country. Statistically speaking, you have just expanded the likelihood that somebody who is in a bad relationship, who is dealing with an abusive relationship, cannot get out of it because now say that, relationships are complicated.
Yes.
And you might have, still had sex with somebody who is an abusive asshole. Well, okay, maybe you got impregnated and now you live in a state like Alabama or Missouri that's trying to ban these things, or Texas, and now you can't get rid of it. And now you are tied to this other human being who now has rights that are tied to you for the rest of your life.
Like Becky, you can't maybe the term.
Go to Nova Scotia. You better run.
Where's the closest blue state? But here's the other problem. Who's it going to hurt the most? The people who don't have the money to go to another state. Of course.
The people who are stuck by consequences, not choice to be in those states.
Can you imagine? A husband looks at his wife and says, "Hey, baby, why your belly getting so big?" "Oh, I was getting fat."
The word?
And then next year, 9 months later, look at this right here. A word?
They're on the stairs.
News 12. Here, I live with the scene. Husband, it's gonna happen.
Be like, oh look, I got something. Let's
like it blows my mind how they're so negligent to see the fact that this is gonna cause more deaths on women than anything else. Like, you know what? If they really want to make a big dent in this whole situation, honestly, they would have said, men should have vasectomies. Like, you should have vasectomies.
Well, they don't want forced sterilization. What they really want...
Oh, sorry. You want the numbers to go up. My bad. You're right.
Yeah. Well, this is the problem, right? This was actually what Amy Coney Barrett admitted to at some conference like 6 months ago. It was that's one of the reasons why Roe v. Wade needs to end, is because they need to increase the birth numbers. But here's the problem with that. People are smart, and they first off, people who are living in blue states...
Yeah.
They're going to use contraceptives and they're going to get abortions. And people who aren't living in blue states are going to probably, like I was saying before, if you're bisexual, you might start dating a woman. If you are with a dude, you might not have sex with them.
Yeah.
Also, you are also now maybe increasing the possible likelihood of getting raped or assaulted.
Yeah.
Because now you have people who are probably, you're decreasing the likelihood that women are going to have sex in those states.
Pretty much.
And now you're going to go ahead and now with those women, less women having sex in those states, the guys who are wanting to have sex are now probably getting a little bit more ornery, and not to blame their actions on other people. Yeah. But you're now increasing the likelihood as a general population that there will be more of these assholes out there that will, I'm not getting laid. By my girlfriend, I'm not getting laid because, there aren't as many loose women out there because they're all moving to, California and New York. By the way, New York's already got some of the hottest women here. Like, New York's going to be around 5,000, man.
Pretty much.
Like... Florida better be more loose on their abortion laws. I know there's discussion that they're going to try and restrict it, but Florida, you guys got something going for you. You're like the in between of New York and California. Just become more liberal. You're going to get so many people going there.
They get rid of DeSantis. That's what they need to do, and hopefully this November it'll happen. But I don't think it's going to happen.
No, he's going to try and run for president. He's like the Republicans, like
number one boy right now. They're ace right now, pretty much.
Yeah,
He's a Republican ace, pretty much. And
he's the only guy who's got. Well, he's not even like an ace. He's the only Republican right now who has any shot of beating anybody. He's the only one who has any likability to him, because like Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz is like a garden gnome.
I hate that.
Mark Rubio looked like he was going to be a golden boy, but then Donald Trump made him look like a Looney Tune. Like, he made him look like a poor little child and kept on treating him like that. The one thing I like about Trump is when he just kept on shutting down Rubio over and over again, made him look like an idiot. Oh, and Chris Christie did that to him too. Chris Christie pulverized him in that debate.
Yeah.
Goddamn Chris Christie for it's a weird thing. Chris Christie did some things that were very entertainingly funny as a New Jersey governor and as a candidate, but then he also legitimized Trump, which I think was what screwed everybody over. He was the first political candidate to legitimize Trump, and that screwed Chris Christie on that. And also, I have my own issues as a New Jersey guy who he was our governor, and he screwed up a lot of things.
AKA that Bridgegate.
Bridgegate's the least of all the things that I had issues with him.
And Beachgate as well.
Yeah.
My problem was more along the lines of he kept on trying to take money away from inner city schools.
Yeah.
And he did it he tried doing it 3 times.
Yep.
Like, at some point, you're just the Grinch on steroids. Stop trying to take money away from inner city schools with your weird, like, I think the state of New Jersey should fund all schools the same way. Well, yeah, except schools are mostly in New Jersey are mostly funded through their property taxes.
Exactly.
So the towns that are rich are going to keep funding their schools with a lot of money, and the towns that aren't rich are going to fall behind. And that's really what would have happened.
But that's the reality of America as a whole. Like,
but New Jersey has a Supreme Court ruling that says they have to, whatever cities currently that are not funded, like that don't meet a certain level of funding, have to get funding from the state, and that's what he was trying to overturn. He was trying to overcome that New Jersey Supreme Court precedent, and it just never happened. He tried it 3 times, and they shut him down every time.
He's such a fish, is he? Man, oh my god.
Well, and it shows how strong the Democrats, even with a Republican governor, can beat him with, and also how strong the New Jersey Supreme Court was at that time. New Jersey and New York, for all their problems, and they still have legitimate problems, as especially due process problems. I feel like in New York. Yeah, well, New York got better with it. New York got better with it, and then the New York Post kept on posting about it and trying to curtail some of those rights that New York finally caught up with Texas on, with like as far as like turning over discovery on time.
Yep,
that was such a strange thing. Things that were probably already constitutional violations that nobody was calling them out for. So New York was always kind of a weird state that was its own, but then eventually got a supermajority of liberals at some point and was able to kind of correct certain things, bail reform and discovery rules.
And now they try to correct that right now because always so many criminals on the street, this and the third.
Yeah, they tried to overcorrect and go back the other way.
And it's not the fault of the law; it's the fault of the judges who are on the bench. They'd be sending mad people who shouldn't be free out on the street again.
Well, the problem was that we did give it to the judges for the longest time, and that's how you had the Khalif Browder case, where the kid sat in Rikers Island,
for 3 years,
and never should have been there,
and never got a court trial, nothing.
Yeah, that's why that happened. Because you had judges that were... that's why we can't give it to the judges. That's why we have to take it away from them. Because they failed so much.
But they're Republican judges. That's what I say. Most of the people in New York, judges are Republican judges. Or pro-cop judges.
Yeah.
And the reason why they're so pissed at this bail reform situation is that it's keeping the recidivism down in prison. And they are pissed about that. And because of that, you want to punish us by releasing all these savages back on the street.
But also, it makes their job easier. That was why they liked it. It made their jobs easier. It made the negotiation easier. You're sitting in jail. You can't afford bail. Here, agree to this. You have a felony or you have a misdemeanor.
Yeah.
You can be out on the street in 30 days, or you're going to sit in jail because you can't afford bail, and you're going to sit here for the next 3 years.
Yeah.
That's what it was. And it was leverage, and it made their lives easier. And they're mad that their lives were not easier.
Exactly.
And that's really all it is. That's 90% of all the BS in the world comes down to 2 things: is it making my life easier, or can I make money off of it? That's it. Am I losing money? That's 90% of all the corruption in the United States government. Is it making my life easier, and am I making money off of it?
I'll be honest with you, like you're the expert. I believe, honestly, from my personal opinion, I feel like everything that could have been better could have been done so much easier for this country. But the problem is, it comes down to racism. They don't want certain groups to get what they got.
Yeah,
and that's just what it is at the end of the day. Because we could have universal health care. We could have paid time leave.
Well, they don't want universal health care because of the insurance companies. That's where the money comes in.
Well, that too.
That's where we get back to the debate of the money.
But that too. I agree with you 100% on that one as well. But I feel like if something is going to benefit us, they don't want that.
No.
The old conservative white crowd, they don't want that at all.
I saw something.
And I strongly believe that, because I remember people talking about that in this movie I saw way back when, a documentary. And I feel like if we couldn't pass even a Voting Rights Act, the John Lewis Voting Rights Act should have been passed a long time ago, and we keep preventing it from being passed because they wanted to rig the game all over the South.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's the thing, is we know that there is a racial element to what they are doing down there. They want to that's one of the big problems right now, is that they are trying to get black people to vote less down in the South.
Yeah.
Whether it's voter ID laws or purging the voter rolls. And this was the issue with Stacey Abrams when she tried running, because they were purging the voter rolls.
Because she should have won outright.
Felony disenfranchisement, things like that are why they, and even in Florida, where they literally passed a referendum getting rid of felony disenfranchisement, they still try to find ways to shoehorn in ways of trying to disenfranchise black people. whether it's, again, different ways of doing it, whether it's voter ID laws where you might have people gerrymandering. Although racial gerrymandering is technically unconstitutional and illegal, there's still ways that, like, you're going to gerrymander. There's still political gerrymandering, which is allowed. So as long as you make it not look like it's a racially drawn map, you could still mess with the map. And in which case, even if the people of your state really would have been Democrats, you could redraw it so that it helps Republicans.
Yeah, so it's still possible deniability to say we know what we're doing. We know who's going to affect, but it's not outright
anyway.
It's not outright racist. You can't prove it's racist.
I haven't looked into it yet, but I did see something recently where it said, I guess, this is before he was murdered and when Clinton was in office, I guess Gaddafi was willing to give like $1 billion to Louis Farrakhan to, I guess, put it towards, like, his black businesses
Gaddafi
and stuff.
funded the Black Panthers and the Nation of Islam.
That's probably why he said. That's probably why.
I think it's been proven, like in history, because he sponsored a lot of organizations that are very controversial.
That's probably why Bill got in the way. But apparently, he wanted to give, I guess, Louis Farrakhan $1 billion to put towards, I guess, black businesses and people who have like great ideas to, like,
to get funding.
To get funding, and I guess Bill Clinton and I guess the powers that be blocked it.
Speaking of the powers that be. I saw in today the Miranda rights.
It's gone.
So it's not gone. What the thing with the Miranda rights
I want to speak about that one too.
The Miranda rights thing is what they allowed for is, so you can't sue. So say a police officer doesn't read your Miranda rights, that evidence comes into trial, and then you end up getting convicted on it. Then you get out, like say, then later show that because of the Miranda rights that you basically because of those Miranda rights, you got convicted.
Yeah.
What they are doing is that they are making it, first off, that there's no civil liability for failure to read Miranda rights, which they've constantly tried to... The thing with Miranda rights is, this was a Supreme Court case that it was... The way it's supposed to work with Miranda rights is that up until Miranda came out, there was how to address it. The reason why cops read your Miranda rights pretty much is that it makes the encounter no longer what's it called? Like Miranda is basically the reason why they read your Miranda rights is that if they don't, anything you say after them arresting you, is not admissible in a court of law until they read you the Miranda rights.
So the Miranda rights basically saying, like, it's like, when I say these rights, I hit record button. Anything you say, I can use against you.
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
And if they don't, the statements can't come in. Now, here's the thing. There's never been a fruit of the poisonous tree to Miranda, which means any physical evidence they find from those statements can still be admissible. So Miranda's never been that strong of a constitutional protection. It was a way to prevent coercive interrogation.
Shoot, we've seen that already.
Yeah.
Of these interrogations, how they do people.
Well, and that's the thing. 90% of the time, people end up talking anyway.
Yeah.
Whether or not they've been read their Miranda rights.
Central Park 5.
Yeah. So even if you get read your Miranda rights, a lot of times people don't realize you should invoke your turn. And that's why I always, there was the video the back off that shit guys. But the reality is there's three things I tell everybody when they get arrested. Demand your attorney, and don't consent to a search.
Exactly.
And the reason why those three things are important
Can you
is...
say that again one more time for the people in the back?
Shut the fuck up, don't consent to a search, and demand your lawyer.
Yeah.
Okay.
And those three things are important because one...
Wait, before they go, I'm going to say one of the curses. Shut up.
Oh, yes. That's
okay, shut up. Don't say anything.
You could have just told me to say it without the curse.
No. I want you to say the curse, but I'm going to say, you shut up, don't consent to a search, and call your lawyer.
No, demand your lawyer.
Demand your lawyer. I don't give you a public defender. Get a lawyer.
Say, I want to speak to my lawyer.
Yes.
I demand a lawyer. Or you could just shout, lawyer. I just say, I want to speak to my lawyer. And that will cut conversation between you and the police.
Yep.
Because they cannot question you after you demand your attorney. They are supposed to cease contact with you after that. Like if you were under arrest, they cannot continue questioning you after you demand your attorney. So, or they have to at least cease for a certain amount of time. And then every time that happens, again, you can continue to demand your attorney, and that will, they have to, because once you've demanded your attorney, that is now considered a coercive situation. And the whole concept to this is coercion. Are we coercing a confession? That was what Miranda was really supposed to address, was coercive conduct between police and suspects. And before that, you actually used to have a balancing test of whether the interrogation was coercive. After that, well, here's the thing. That might be better than what you have now, which is if they don't read you Miranda, it's considered coercive. And if they do read you your Miranda rights, it's pretty much de facto considered not coercive. That's almost like a weaker test for the average person nowadays. Because if you think about it, first off, because coercive interrogations, there is a fruit of the poisonous tree, which means that like but for Miranda, there's not. So like, for instance, if they're twisting your arm and breaking your arm, that would be coercive. You can't use that in an interrogation
or keep you locked in a room for long hours.
Well, that's where it gets a little questionable, right? That's where things get really weird. Is okay if you're under arrest, well, you are kept in a room for a while. There's things of like that nature where when does it become coercive? Is it keeping you, and that becomes more of a question. And then you try to raise that question at trial, which is again why the standard 3 things I tell people are shut up, don't consent to a search, and demand your lawyer. We'll go to the first one first. Shut up. Well, why? Because like I was saying earlier when we were talking about the Johnny Depp case and we're talking about objections to hearsay, well, anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. That comes into case no matter what you do. Anything you say that goes against your interests or even helps your interests, if they think it's going to help their case, can be introduced. So that's why you're supposed to shut up, because that's why you have your Fifth Amendment right to shut up. Because you have your Fifth Amendment right to not incriminate yourself. That you can't be forced to use your own words against you. That's why the coercive conduct comes in. And when you are being interrogated, because is your Fifth Amendment being violated in those cases? Miranda kind of became a way of saying, hey, if this is not met, then it's automatically coercive. And if it's met, it's automatically not coercive unless there's other things shown, basically. So again, your First Amendment right is to, your Fifth Amendment right to plead the Fifth. You should invoke that as much as possible when it comes down to a criminal case, because if not, then you're going to have issues of, like, what did you say? Did you say, oh, I didn't do it. I wasn't driving 50. I was driving 45. Well, it's a 35-mile-an-hour road.
You incriminated yourself, correct?
Yeah, it might. All you did was prove that you were speeding. Now we're just down to the nitty-gritty of how fast you were speeding.
Instead of you going 20 miles over, you went 9 miles over.
Exactly.
And you still went 9 miles over.
Yeah, you still were speeding. That's the easiest way I could, now the consenting to a search, right? Most of the time, a lot of searches are consented to. Like 90% of searches are consented to. If you do not consent to a search, they need something called probable cause, but then they have to prove it later on. And when you have your attorney come in to go ahead, when you then eventually hire an attorney or a public defender is given to you, and if you didn't consent to the search, they will now be able to dispute that. They will do a motion to suppress because they will say they did not have probable cause to search the vehicle. And they might get to go ahead and cross-examine the police officer in a motion to say, hey, oh, you said that you smelled marijuana, but all you found were guns and cocaine. Guns and cocaine don't smell like marijuana, Your Honor. This is not admissible. That's always, and nowadays marijuana is not even, marijuana is legal in most states. Exactly. Why is the smelling of the marijuana leading to the guns and cocaine even a thing now? But back when I wrote that joke, it was illegal still. But like, again, like that's the point is not consenting to a search. Now they have to provide the probable cause to being able to do the search. The last one, like I said before, demand your attorney, because at that point, the second you invoke that you want your attorney and that you want to speak to your attorney and that will cease the communication between you and the cops at that time, as far as if you were under arrest. Now, there is a question of when have you been under arrest or when are you deemed not under arrest? And that becomes a little bit more opaque. And just basically, if you find the cuffs on your hands, generally speaking, shutting up is genuinely good. It's really the question of whether you're free to go. If you're not free to go, that's the real difference maker there. And that's when those things really come into effect. But if you are free to go, then shut up. Yeah. Don't consent to a search. Exactly. The demanding your lawyer thing becomes a little bit more opaque. Yeah. But the other two things still keep on doing.
Because I remember.
I mean, you can still try to demand your lawyer, but it doesn't mean anything. They'll just be like, you can leave. Like,
You
it's
can
not. You could go. I don't want to demand your lawyer all you want. You're not under arrest. And that's the other question: is, am I free to go?
Yeah. Damn, but it's just, I don't know. This whole thing's a mess, man.
So much stuff going on.
Oh yeah, and this is the weird thing with the law is that they don't teach this in school. You would think it would be important to teach like some of this in grade school, but they don't want you to.
No.
They don't want you to know it. They don't want anybody to know it. They want the people who are going to be educated on it to know it, because then that helps the people who are educated. And it's like playing a game of Monopoly and knowing the rules compared to not knowing the rules.
But they've already went around the board 3-4 times.
Yeah.
And they have $600 and you have zero.
Yeah.
That's why they teach us about isosceles triangles, like it matters to us.
Well, listen, sir, the isosceles triangle. Listen, acute triangles are where it's all at, is really what I'm saying. I think that's the obtuse triangle,
Unless
too.
I want to be a sniper in the Navy SEALs, don't talk to me about angles. Talk to me how to keep my money.
Oh, man. Want to go to the wise guys now?
You want to talk about the Kyrie situation or no?
Go to the wise guys.
All right, no problem. Let's bring the
Packed
lead.
it in right now.
Yeah.
Give me 1 second, gentlemen.
Yeah, I feel like I'm in a sauna. Truth be told.
Yeah, it's hot as balls outside in here.
I'm going to get a portable AC unit.
Uh-huh.
You said you're going to chip in?
Yeah, how much is that going to cost you?
Nah, whatever it is, we just divide it by 3.
Oh, okay. Bump.
Don't be going ballerific on that, man. There's-
Time out. When have I ever gone baller with? Now you letting the cat in the bag.
Yeah.
I never gone baller with on any of y'all yet. Let me suspension you should have had by now. Swear jar man. Little technical fouls over there, you know what I'm saying?
Well, it is a nonverbal one.
Just
How about
because you didn't
that?
say it,
I think you're still recording right now,
I know
Kev.
we are, but I'm leaving it right there. I don't care. Yeah, no. Every family squabbles, man.
I just want to say real quick, yo, Kyrie played himself today. I'm going to leave it like that.
So you want to go into it?
Quick, you want to do it quick?
Real quick. All right, so Kyrie Irving, right? You guys been living on the rock. Kyrie Irving's like, I'm trying to think of what can I compare
He's a
him to?
flat earth
No.
He's the worst thing ever to this
Okay,
teams.
Kyrie Irving is like a gray C version of Antonio Brown.
All right, that's fair.
All right, great. We'll say grade D because AB goes off the hinges, not Kyrie. Kyrie doesn't really get in trouble with the law, but Kyrie gets in trouble with things he does, says, do.
He's a douche.
I.e., he should have stayed in Cleveland with LeBron James.
Yes.
But he got in his own way, wanted to be the man.
I want to be the man now.
And then he went to Boston. Even LeBron said, don't let him go. But then after LeBron spoke to him and said, F this, get him out of here. So that's what I heard the story with that one was. All right, went to the Boston.
Got
Plays
banned
in
from
Boston, what, 3 seasons or 2 seasons?
2
I
seasons.
think 2, I think like 2.5 or something like that.
Yeah. Plays in Boston. When he's there, they get okay, but when he's not there, they made it to the Eastern Conference Finals. So basically, they were good with or without him. Tells the fans at Boston, I'll come back if you have me. They want him to be there. And in the middle of the night, he pulls a Shaquille O'Neal and leaves. Coerced Kevin Durant to go into the Brooklyn Nets and became a show.
Jesus.
Just a straight show. I'm sorry.
Yep.
I'll put the money in this.
I don't want to hear coerce, because at the end of the day, Kevin Durant's
He
is a grown
coerced
man.
Kevin Durant.
I can't make someone do something.
Well, it
KD
happened.
seems very gullible. If I play the
I
flute
can't
for
make
KD,
a grown man do something he don't
pulled
want
it
to
off.
do.
Pulled it off. Kyrie did, though.
You know?
he pulled it off.
Listen,
Because he really supposed to go to the Knicks.
Just show me the hypnosis conditioning, and then I'll validate what you guys are saying.
Yo, thank God the Knicks didn't get Kyrie. Thank you, Jesus.
No?
Oh, thank you, Jesus.
KD was supposed to originally go to the Knicks.
We don't want
Oh,
him.
you want to go down this Nick rabbit hole? Oh, this could get ugly.
Listen, time out. You're really getting Russell Westbrook now, so I don't know how that's going to work out.
Well,
I mean, you guys would have traded him anyway, so what does it matter?
You want Russell Westbrook?
Yeah.
No, supposedly they're in talks to, so we run
Oh,
these
good. I'll take
regardless.
it. Hey. Whatever
screwed.
we get back, I'll take it back in return.
We're screwed right
I'll
now at this point. Being a Knicks fan is like
Yo,
it's a life of pain
If
at this point.
the Knicks trade for Westbrook, bro,
Oh,
I'll be skipping down the street.
For all you
my
listeners,
LeBron
the
James?
Knicks will nick.
Yes.
I'm just saying.
We just traded our first round pick for 3 picks.
But you traded for the Thunder, so like it's weird because we don't know if it's gonna be a top 15, top 20 pick, like a top 10
We don't know.
pick.
We don't know.
Or it could be with wherever the Thunder land at. But I don't think the Thunder's gonna be like make a crazy turnaround like that. But whatever.
I can assure you, whatever the Knicks said to Oklahoma City, "We're gonna see in real time
Well, remember
how
they
the
traded,
Knicks nicked."
They traded the 11
Yo.
pick and got 3 picks out of the 11 pick.
Yo,
And OKC has what 17 picks left up
Yep.
to 2027. They're stockpiled on picks. So
listen, I've seen these movies before. I know how they end.
I get it.
I know how they end. Okay.
So
we could have got Steph. Remember that?
Yo, don't bring it up. Don't bring it up, man.
they got Steph.
What's there to bring up? You guys would have traded him anyway.
You got- They could have gotten Donovan Mitchell, but they drafted Frank Ntilikina.
I mean, I could
come on,
I
man.
could trade away David Lee. I could trade away Tim Hardaway Jr. to get him back and pay more money for him.
Get him. No, they traded him away, got him back, and traded him again.
You see what I'm talking about? Well,
Didn't he go
you
back
see
to the
what
same
Walter-
team twice?
Yo.
Right?
Huh?
Tim Hardaway Jr. Did he?
Yeah.
Was it? What did he get traded to the first time? I think he was in Dallas 2 times. Right?
No, he went to he traded him to Atlanta.
Yeah.
He did really well in Atlanta. Then instead of and then they had to re-up on him.
Yeah.
He had to re-up on the players you already had.
Yeah.
And then they moved him to Dallas or whatever. See, the Knicks is gonna nick Walter. They do it to themselves all the time.
It's because they're in New York.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it does sound weird, right?
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. I do it to myself on stage. I'll say my name out loud quite a few times. So I'm very used to somebody doing that. So it's not that big of a deal.
Oh my
But
God.
okay, so
unfortunately, he's right because here's the thing: nothing good will come for the Knicks until James Dolan leaves.
Yeah. Okay, so
It's a fact, though. Come on, man.
You know, James Dolan. Oh, look, talent, a prospect, traded away.
It's like the color purple.
It's because they know they're gonna make money off of it because it's the Knicks and it's in New York.
Thank you.
exactly because
It's like-
Knicks fans we're gullible.
Listen, it's like the movie Color Purple. Remember, Harpo said, "Nothing good will come until you do right by me." Like do the curse like that. And I was like, "Oh." And the same thing with the Knicks with James Dolan. Nothing good will come of the Knicks until you sell this team.
Yeah,
That'd be a sick way if he was trolling Spike Lee. Sorry, Spike. You gotta go.
Yo, you had Stephen A. Smith and Spike Lee on TV praying for a pick. And before the pick gets traded over,
We're giving it away.
we're giving it away.
it is weird that the Knicks are like the basketball version of the Cleveland Browns.
I saw that. I was like, wait, what? And then during that whole NBA draft, they were just moving picks left and right. Like Detroit was just swapping up. I'm like, what? I can't even. There was like literally, Walt, Brojo. They were. You know how in the NFL draft, where we get to like from pick 12 and beyond. The team that would be pick 13 would trade with the team with 12.
Yeah.
So that's what was going on with the NBA draft. They were just swapping up things left. I was like, bro, just draft the player. Why you keep swapping around?
What's that game of the Vegas casinos with the red and the black?
Oh, roulette.
Oh, yeah, roulette.
It's like you tell the next pick black, pick black. I'll go with red.
Or pick green.
Big green. The only green on the
Double
board.
zero.
I'll
Double
put
zero.
all my money on red.
No. I put all my money on 00.
Go few.
Listen, I'm
I was like, you and I say, go few.
No, you're fucking. You should be going to James Dolan because he said to the fans all the time.
Listen,
Tell you
man.
that.
I wasn't even going to go there. But
Listen,
I'm not trying to go
I hate to say this. I'm
not gonna
an
Nick
evil
Red.
person to say this. But I was praying for COVID to get another W for Dolan, but it didn't
Are
happen.
y'all still paying out of you?
We still lost, man.
Yeah.
Wait, no. Didn't he get paid off this year
I don't know, man.
with that deal?
That money goes a long way.
Anyways.
I hate you guys.
Anyway, no, bro. I think they paid it off. Anyways.
Listen, time out. At least they're still in a better position than the Nets are right now.
Whoa, we're gonna get there. All right. So
listen. There is a scrapbook of Nick epic fails.
Well, the Nets had some too when they traded for KG and Paul Pierce.
Yeah, remember that worked out for you
And
guys?
gave all those picks. We could have had the Nets could have had Tatum and Jaylen Brown with those picks.
Yep.
Well, you know,
I mean, like,
you got a case of the Knicks.
so you know my basketball understanding is a lot
Right
more
now.
limited
Yeah.
than my football understanding. It's starting to sound a lot more like that DeShaun Watson situation with the Browns.
Well, not with the sexual assault, but more like, okay, better like what the Rams are doing, like F them picks.
F them. Oh, all
Yeah,
right.
like the Texans when they traded DeShaun Watson. I mean, Hopkins. What the hell are you trading Hopkins for?
Oh, that was weird.
For what?
That sounded
and
like
you
it was an
didn't-
O'Brien Hopkins
Yeah,
problem.
you didn't even trade for like first round talent. You trade like third or fourth round pick. What the
Well, now when you look at what wide receivers are going for,
yeah, I'm saying,
like
like-
AJ Brown just went for a first round pick. This
Yeah.
person went for a
You
first
could
and
have got a
second.
first round pick. Look at that.
Yeah, well, Walter, you ever watched the Boondocks?
Not in a long time.
Okay, so-
probably, but like yeah.
So
when I
these
was
guys will
younger.
definitely get it. So Boondocks is very funny. One of the like, you know, I guess the off characters is this guy named Eddie Winsler. His father pretty much owns a town.
Mhm.
They pretty much commit crimes knowing that nothing's gonna happen to them because they don't think his grandfather, whatever, owns the town. That's what the Knicks are to the NBA. All right.
Oh,
All right.
And once the second, the
You
third,
could just steal from them every single time, and they're okay with it. Every time, you can just
His
take.
face is amazing
You can
right
just
now.
take. You can just
'Cause you
take.
can tell he's insulted, but you can also tell that he's like,
I can't. There's nothing I can argue.
Oh, they're giving us David Lee. You fools. David Lee went on to win a championship. Okay. He's like, oh, we had David Lee. Well, he did. He gave away. What do you want?
Gallinari, David Lee. So
Wilson Chandler?
Wilson Chandler, bro.
Man,
Ooh,
Nate Robinson?
anyways, let's keep going.
Gallinari,
Oh, man.
I don't want to go there. We're not going there.
Jason, Jeremy Lin.
Oh, we're not going there. Stop.
But all I keep hearing is we could have had stuff.
This is suicide fuel right here, man. Come on, man.
Walt didn't even know that until we showed him the video. Remember, he didn't know that.
Yeah, we showed him the video.
Oh,
Dumbass that I am.
There was a
Show the
time
video.
period where you could have been on your last leg and be on the bench and get 15
We could have had
from the
Joakim
Knicks.
Noah. We could have had Derrick
In
Rose
the top rounds.
in their
yeah.
prime.
Yeah.
Anyways, so
Oh my God, being a Knicks fan is so horrible.
so Kyrie leaves
A
Boston.
ceasefire. My clip was loaded this round. I'll tell you that.
Kyrie leaves Boston.
Are you done, sir?
Yeah,
Are you done?
He's done.
I'm done. I'm out.
So, like,
I'm
at
out.
deep in the night, Kyrie leaves Boston, goes to Brooklyn. Now you see Kevin Durant and him talking. He's like, bro, we can get two max contracts. I want just two. Because, you know, the max contract was like $40 million a year, something like that.
Mind you, he had this max contract up until he decided to take the sabbaticals, and,
Yeah.
then the COVID thing kicked
Yeah.
in. COVID thing, that's your prerogative.
Yeah.
You know, but at the same time, if you make these choices, the Nets as an organization have the right to make their choice.
Exactly.
You know,
right? So, COVID happens. The NBA puts a man. First, they went to the bubble, came out the bubble. Then they had they were like in isolation as players.
Mhm.
And then this year they made it. We had to get a vaccine mandate, and depending on what state laws were, you had to follow the state laws. So, like, I believe in
I heard about this.
in Golden State, in LA, they had the if you worked at the place, you had to be vaccinated.
Gotcha.
In Canada, if you go play in Toronto, they made it seem
For
like
entry.
you couldn't get in if you weren't
You're
vaccinated.
gonna be vaccinated for entry to the country.
Yeah.
Ah.
So, like, if you went, let's say you played for Nets, whatever, you went to Toronto, you could come in, but you had to stay at the hotel. If you left the hotel, it was like a crazy fine and a couple days in jail. Like you really like you couldn't go anywhere.
They ain't effing around over
No,
there.
no, they weren't
Canada.
playing around.
Yeah.
In New York, we had the vaccine mandate. Kyrie didn't want to partake in it.
Yeah, I heard something about that
forgot
because
how
he wasn't
the
able to play in New York, but he was playing
Yeah.
in like other stadiums.
But like he could other state, but he couldn't. But the what was the vaccine mandate? It was something with employees in the building.
Employees of the Barclays Center had to be vaccinated.
Anywhere like business wise, if you worked in a large scale business, the employees in the building had to be vaccinated. They didn't live until the Yankees and Mets because that generates revenue for them too. So,
But then the contradiction was, well, if Kyrie can't play home games,
I didn't get to that part yet. So you know, the Nets players get vaccinated. Comes to Kyrie. What does Kyrie say?
no, thank you.
No, thank you. I don't want to do this. I don't want to get vaccinated. I'm going to be unvaxxed for the people, for the voiceless.
I do remember this because a friend of mine was explaining this to me last
And
year.
it was like, bro, what do you mean the voiceless? No one to speak up on their behalf.
He's a must-see martyr, but he's not on the court.
Okay. Right. Like, no one actually on that behalf.
Yeah.
Just play ball. And mind you, last year you got hurt. Do you know? They played. He's been in the Nets for 3 seasons, 82 games a season. How many was it? 100.
That's a lot of games.
It's about 2 and some change.
82 games. Okay, so 82.
No. 860. 246 games. He only played a quarter of those games. So think of like somebody playing in NFL only playing 4 weeks after the whole season.
Oh man, you're definitely not getting paid that season.
All right.
I can assure you that.
So he does
There
that.
are players who've done that, but yeah.
He does.
They don't
that.
keep a long-term contract.
Yeah, he does that, right? He gets until the Nets are all right. They change the laws. Nets say, okay, Kyrie, look, you can play, but you can only play away games. You can't play home games, but we don't want you here. So they say you can stay home. They pay him to stay home. The Nets start bombing games. They renege on it. Let him come back.
Kyrie, we need you.
So now you just enable his shenanigans. They get into the playoffs. They get swept out the first round.
Yep.
Swept. They didn't win a game. Should have won game 1. Lost that game. Could have won game 2. After that, it was just foot on neck. All right? Before the season is over for the Brooklyn Nets, what does he say? Oh, me and the team are going to have discussions about, our future here. What future here, bro? You didn't play. You did not play a game.
So he's looking. So he's not. We're not talking about the past. We're looking towards the future.
Yeah. All right. So then he's on this last year of his contract, making $36 million with a player option. Basically, you know the options go for players, right? He tells the team he wants to re-up on his contract because that's how it usually goes. Usually the last year of the contract. You know how the last year of the contract goes. You want to re-up a player, she can get for the cheap.
But
you know.
But you got to play to get the re-up.
Yeah. You only played 82 games and you didn't even play a full season ever for the team.
Yeah, you're right.
You even played more than half the games ever for the team. And you want max dollars?
Good luck.
And the Nets are like, F that. And then they're like, know what?
Go try free agency.
We'll figure this out later. We'll give you 3 years. We're not giving you 5 years super max. He's like, well, then if you're not going to give me the 5 years, trade me someplace else.
You should have took the 3. 3 is being generous.
Yeah.
The fact that was even on the table, that's how you know that they want him.
All right. His choices were the Lakers, Clippers, Miami Heat, Knicks.
Please God in the Knicks.
Philadelphia.
Please God in the Knicks.
Those 5. What was the last? No, 6th one.
I don't remember.
Please God in the Knicks.
It was the Knicks.
Mm-hmm.
It was the Miami Heat, Philly, Clippers, Lakers. There's one more team.
But why would you want to go to Philly? You just pretty much
because it was close to his home in New Jersey.
Well,
he's from Jersey.
Well, James Harden's not giving you the ball. That's all I'm saying.
All right. So basically, it's a give a chicken. They're like,
word,
okay. Word, then go seek your own trade. We'll be good without you because record-wise, they're actually even with him and without him on the court. Right.
Because they know what transpired. He lost a lot of cash and credibility. So they're like, you know what?
Go ahead.
All right. So
he's bucking the system. It gets to the 11th hour. He's like, well, the Lakers want me. Like, okay.
I'll take the $6 million.
We'll take $6 million. Now, if he doesn't get opportunity, he only makes $6 million a year. What kind of guys are going to turn down $31 million?
Antonio Brown.
That had taste itself, man.
All right.
Oh my God, that had taste. Oh my God.
He had until Wednesday to opt his contract. As of what? I think a couple hours ago.
Yep.
He opts into the contract because they're like blink.
Because he tests the free agency. He tried to test the free agency. Nobody wants him.
And no, I don't think nobody. Only one team won was Lakers.
They didn't want him.
No, they wanted him, but they were going to give him the
$40 million.
They couldn't give him because they're going to give him the mid-level exception, which is $6 million.
Jeez.
So you'd have played if he would have went to the Lakers this year, he would have only making $6 million on the books.
You should have took that money.
And you can just stay in the guest house in LeBron's place, Yeah,
exactly. He'll be all right in LA.
But he's going back to Brooklyn as of now. And I'm just like, bro, I wish I had a team like Kevin Durant. Because, think about this.
How you feel like Kevin Durant? How you gonna feel knowing that your boy trying to leave the team?
That's what I'm saying.
They ain't going nowhere this season. Next season, they're going nowhere.
If we're teammates, and I'm leaving you hanging constantly, and you don't tell nothing in the media,
that's a bitch move right there.
I would love you as a teammate, bro.
That's a bitch ass move, man.
Would you not?
I'll be tight. Like, I can't trust you anymore. I can't trust you to have my back.
Yeah. But Kevin Durant just seemed the type just
let things roll.
The next game we play as opponents, I'm throwing a fastball. Oh, turnover.
fast break off the ball in the stands.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, I don't know how the Nets gonna correct the situation.
They tried,
but like, if you're bringing him back, does he play ball this year, or does he do the same thing he's been doing all this one time?
This goes on the sabbaticals, being different.
I get it, it's a player option, but I would be like,
Players like Kyrie, players like Ben Simmons are gonna inspire these NBA owners to be like, you know what, I like what y'all doing in the NFL. And it's not guaranteed stuff. I like it.
And when the next CBA comes, they are fucked. The players.
Listen, the
players, action of these dumbasses.
The players fought for the CBA to get where it's at right now,
and they ruined it.
And Walt and I, we talk about the NFL CBA. The NFL CBA is trash.
Oh yeah,
very
weak.
It is weak. So let you guys keep messing around.
Be just like them.
You're gonna be just like that.
To be fair, the reason why that is though is because the NBA, it's a handful of it literally is 5 players in the court, right?
Yeah.
So it's
12 players overall.
Yeah, compared to the NFL, which is
16,
you need 11 on offense, 11 on defense,
and then
53 for a whole team. Like it becomes a real numbers game. There's so many. Even if you have 1-star player, it doesn't mean anything. Look at all those years that Peyton Manning didn't make it to a playoff. Look at all those years that insert name star quarterback that's not Pat Mahomes has made it not making it to the playoffs.
Yeah, it's like the lifespan for an average NFL player is so short. The fact that it's not guaranteed.
It's 3 to 5 years.
It's such a brutal sport. It's a little disturbing to me when you think about it. When you put it in context, whether you're an elite player, whether you're an average player, whatever the case may be. The fact that you could sign for like a 4-year deal of $86 million, mind you, this takes into account that most NFL players don't even know how to keep that kind of money.
And most of them aren't even making that kind of money.
Yeah.
Most of them are making
not even guaranteed money.
Most of them are making vet minimum. There's a lot of them that are making the rookie wage scale, which has its own issues to it. So in the NFL, it's a totally weird landscape of you have the really top heavy contracts and new money contracts, which are basically second contract players, which means you had to have been playing at least 3 or 4 years to get that money.
Yep.
So usually it's only the players who really got to that top of what they were doing that make that money. Everybody else is making
expendable.
Yeah, $500,000, $1 million a year, which is a lot for a regular person. But then again, most of these people this is all they're making for the rest of their lives to live off of. So if you've only played 3 years in the NFL and you're playing on a rookie deal, you might have made it you might make $1 million, $1.5 million, and that's not counting taxes, what goes to your
agent,
whatever
trainer,
your trainers, whatever else you're doing,
entourage,
that's where people start really losing the money is the entourage,
pretty much.
And these D1 colleges
and these D2s are getting these NILs.
Get paid for their
I love the NIL deals.
I hope they stay in college longer.
Yes.
That was amazing. And actually, that was the funny thing because that part of that was already in process, and now you had part of it with the Supreme Court decision last year.
Oh, what did they decide with that one?
They were the ones who were basically actually, I wasn't really had a lot to do with the NIL deals anymore because that was initially what the argument was going to be. But they eventually had a different thing as far as the money from the schools and being able to restrict what money the schools can give them. It was really more of an a balance of an antitrust case, and basically though. Again, with the name and likeliness deals with how everything, basically the perspective of how everybody's been looking at this and the money that's been going, the fact that there's been no money going to the college students forever. And now you're going to have the NIL deals, and now you have less restrictions from the NCAA as far as what they can restrict the colleges from giving the students. It's freeing up more money for the students to be able to stay in school and be able to make money off of their likeliness. There was issues where people weren't able to have a YouTube while they were in college if they were playing for playing in the NCAA. That it was stupid things like that.
Look at I forgot what player it was.
Finally getting taxed.
Camby. John Calipari paid for Camby to go to his mom's funeral, and I think he got fined for that.
Yep.
In Rhode Island, something that he helped the player with because their mother had died or somebody had died in the family, and the family couldn't afford to fly the kid back home, so Calipari did it on his behalf,
That's
and it was the NCAA was frowned upon. They gave him, I think they fined him or something like that.
Yeah.
Something they did the NCAA, they took away games.
It's karma for you.
Yeah.
This guy did a very selfless thing for such a very important. This kid needed to be at his mother's funeral. That's what y'all doing? That is disgusting.
Look at Shannon Sharp talking with his grandmother.
Yeah.
How she would call him and he couldn't accept the phone call because they had no money for the phone.
That's hard.
And she living in a tin shack on the farms.
I'm talking the rural South,
Yeah.
like deep. I'm talking about like you see roadkill and that's food.
That's food. Just think about that. And like that's why like right now he's like, oh, I'm loving it.
Yeah.
I wish I had NIL deals back in my day.
Absolutely. I can't knock it.
Shoot.
That's why till this day I was sick when Tim Tebow was saying that was off on that.
Oh, I hate
man.
what he said, bro.
It was super tone deaf, man. I was like, listen, man, I can't make you understand this, but one day
you
will.
can't make you understand it.
Listen.
The players you play from Florida are your guys. They've told you stories. What are you talking about? You played in the league. You know everybody's stories.
Listen, no, you could know it, but till you lived it.
No,
there will always be a disconnect.
No, you can have empathy for something you haven't lived.
Exactly.
That's BS. You can have like
say
again,
that.
we just had a conversation all about abortion rights. Not a single one of us here has a vagina, as far as I know.
No, you're right.
You can have empathy for people who are not in the same position as you.
Exactly.
So,
Cole being a decent human being.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
It just like he was just so tone deaf what he said.
was
I'm
But
like,
Tebow's
dude.
always been tone deaf.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's always
super
been
pissed.
tone deaf, and he never quite understood how limited he was as an athlete and as limited as he was as a player, as a quarterback. So I kind of always looked at him as like, okay, am I shocked that he's tone deaf? No.
I was so happy
was
when
so
they
pissed.
fired over Urban Meyer.
Oh, that's it. Oh my God, that was a mess. That dude was a mess. But I called that being a mess from the second that guy was hired.
I was so happy. I was like, okay, Urban Meyer, we'll see what you brought to NFL. And then you start hearing all these stories like, what? He did what?
The minimal benefit of the doubt for me went out the window when he hired that strength and conditioning
that was the
coach
one. That was
from
that
Iowa.
one. I'm like,
and I just
wait.
went, nope, there's no way this is ending well. And then they're like, we drafted Travis Etienne because Kadarius Toney wasn't there when we wanted to draft him. Really? That was the basis for all your stuff? Oh my God, you guys suck.
Dude, and then you had them kicking the player,
Oh yeah, kicking the kicker. Oh my
There's all
God.
kind of crap that Urban Meyer was doing. Then remember with the whole scandal with him staying behind with the team? And like I'm like, I had arguments with my friends like, was that big? I said, wait, you set the tone for the players. You tell players don't be that guy. Here you are on 4K camera inside the girl's pants at your restaurant. When your wife and them are at home and your team already travel back home with you.
I don't even think that was the biggest deal. The biggest deal was when you got caught, like he canceled practices the next day. Like you got to go ahead and be able to look your guys in the eye.
Yeah.
That was the
As
screw up
men.
there. So yeah, no, Urban Meyer was the biggest
Coach,
mistake that
pass down,
happened this
Coach.
year.
Yeah, man.
Oh man, you know when the players start joking on you right in front of your face, dressing room's gone. The dressing room's gone, man.
Yes.
And he's trashing his own coaches
Oh,
and saying
man.
that they're all a bunch of losers. It's like, dude, you're the guy who hired them.
Yeah,
that was your
exactly.
job. Your one job is to hire people
See,
as a head
And
coach.
you can't do that right?
Ah, he's trying to get hit with a football. That's what's
Yeah,
going
like,
on. Yeah.
Oh, I've always been around winners. Well, maybe that's because you were in a system that benefited like what you were doing. Like, okay, like yeah, you were always able to pick the best players. That's not the case in the NFL. That was why it was always a failure that he was hired. It never made sense that he was hired. When you looked at like when he was getting hired, it's like the college coaches that even have any level of success in the NFL are minimal. And when they do, it's usually because they're either good at one of two things. One is program building and and really not even program building. Really, it's two things: innovation on offense.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why you get guys like Kingsbury and
bring up his
Kelly,
name.
who maybe aren't even great, but they've shown at least a little bit of success when they've been in the NFL for a period of time.
True.
And the other ones are guys who have had some familiarity with the NFL. Harbaugh, example. Again, like guys who are in the NFL at a certain point. Pete Carroll had some familiarity with the NFL, even though he went to
the
Stanford.
Jets.
Yeah.
Remember that guy who's on the Atlanta Falcons? He was a major college football coach who left in the middle of the night with the team high and dry with no coach. He took a multi-million-dollar contract only to go to another college school after being 0 and so many losses and stuff during the season.
You're not talking about
I
from
forget the
Bama.
name.
Huh?
Not Nick Saban.
No, it wasn't.
No.
Nick Saban was in Miami.
I don't know, I forgot his name, but he was the coach for the Atlanta Falcons when they had Michael Vick, and he got rid of all the other quarterbacks. And Michael Vick was like pretty much gone for the season because of the whole dogfighting situation. they had some lame three of the worst quarterbacks in the history of the Falcons.
I looked it up.
First name.
I forget. He had it was him and Urban Meyer were tied for like the worst record for like 1 year head coaches or something.
He got in a motorcycle accident when he went back to his other school.
Terrible.
No, it wasn't. Not the Louisville head coach, Bobby Fischer. Was it him?
No.
No.
Let me look it up.
Look it up. But yeah, just. You know what?
Terrible.
Let's get the wise guys right now. Hold on 1 second. Hold on, y'all. DJ Intense with the third songs of the episode. Hailing from Rockland County, New York, is Mick LaVille with a song called Changes. Listen, y'all, I watched this kid grow up in front of my face and my very eyes, man. It just touches my soul to see this kid actually doing his dream. So, once again, Mick LaVille with Changes.
I've been high and felt so low. I've been hot and felt so cold. Yeah, there's been limits to my expectations, and now my solo restoration. Cause I've been so low that all of my passion, they've succumbed to refractions, and now my soul lacking. Don't be mad at my reactions. Oh, time after time again, like a race coming to the end. I'm just trying to find my way, but nothing feels the same. Oh, now I'm getting off at the freeway, and I'm ignoring all the signs that come my way. I'm only riding 'cause some things have to change. Oh, some things have to. I've been blinded and made mistakes when hiding. I'm fighting out the pain, inviting all the fame into my life. Oh, I've been troubled by the water struggle. Now I'm stronger, confident within myself. So now I'm getting off at the freeway, and I'm ignoring all the signs that come my way. I'm only riding 'cause some things have to change. Oh, some things have to. I'm only riding 'cause some things have to change. Some things have to change. Some things have to.
Get this through your head.
Wise guy.
You only exist out here because of me. That's the only reason. Without me, you personally, every f***ing wise guy still around, I'll take a piece of your
Wise guy.
Where's your line? Don't ever go over my head again.
Yes. You guys know what time it is. It's the Why Guy segment of the show. And we're going to end it off right with a quickie. Okay? So, gentlemen, the Wise Guy's question of the night is, is flirting cheating?
Hell no.
Can you relax? Can you relax, please?
Sorry.
Stop. Okay, Mr. The Boys.
Hey.
I'm Walt. Is flirting cheating?
Okay. All right. So, is flirting cheating? No.
And why is that?
Because my thing is, there's, as long as there is no intent and it's just, banter, tongue in cheek, That's all it is. Talking
So,
cheek.
so flirting for you, for if it's cheating, it has to cross a certain boundary. So if you're just doing it for fun,
Yeah, if it's just for fun, or if it's just in the air, or if I'm just doing it to probably, maybe
get your discount.
something like that, something light, then no, and stuff like that. But if it's like, I'm in a relationship, I'm seeing this girl over and over throughout my, I guess, daily or weekly encounters, and there's always this energy, and I just plan at some point pursuing it, and it's reciprocated. Then then you're going down a slippery slope.
Mm-hmm.
Or if I find myself having this compelling relationship with someone that's not my significant other, and I'm telling her stuff that I'd never told my girl, then I'm entering a different category.
Okay.
All
right.
Sort of like, even though it made sense, sort of like the what's his face? Loner SVU, the Olivia, what's his name?
Stabler.
Yeah, that dynamic.
Yeah,
where they were partners, but he was telling her stuff that he would never tell his wife.
Well, because
I think it's a little different because I think there's also like a friendship there that's like part of being a partner on like in something like that. But I'm also not super versed with the Law and Order SVU verse, so I don't know how tight their relationship was. So I could be entirely misreading that because I didn't watch that many episodes of Law and Order SVU. I watched a lot more earlier on, but I know what you mean by it being kind of flirty.
They were thick as thieves, man.
Thick as thieves, like it's beyond platonic. Like they would die for each other.
Yeah,
but it's also part of being partners and like that kind of a situation. I think. So I think that might be like the exception to that rule but like.
I agree.
I think it's more of like the intent behind. I agreed with 99% of what you said. I just think I also this is the problem with picking fictionalized things. It's like all of a sudden you're like, well, I don't know about. I agree with that, but again, like I agreed with 90% of what you're saying. It comes down to the intent, right? If your intent is that you're going to go out and get laid, or that you're doing something like you take sexual satisfaction off of something that you're saying, then I kind of think then it is cheating. But like what you're saying is. Yeah, if you're doing it like part of your job, like bartenders flirt.
This is Brojo Death Punch. Give me his opinion.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Keep going.
If you're doing it as part of your job, if you're doing it like you're a realtor and that's a way you're going to get people to keep coming back to you, I think it's less of a problem. It also comes down to your relationship with your significant other. If you know your significant other's not going to have a problem with it, then it's not a problem. If you think your significant other's going to have a problem with something. Then that's something that's a problem with your significant other. Like then it is like, okay, well, then I shouldn't act this way. It all comes down to, would you or the either would you be upset if your significant other did the same thing? Like that's kind of the other end of it is like, is the shoe on the other foot? Would you be bothered by it?
That's
if
true.
your significant other was doing the same thing? Like there's some flirting and then that next level of like, hey, you're taking down the number, you're meeting them at a location, you're going out and getting coffee, you're hanging out. It becomes, is it flirting or is it you're starting to have
jump my gun for the next question too. You go.
Yeah, like is there another like is there like another thing that you're pushing up against? Is there I guess the real question is if you were caught doing it, would you feel like, oh, is this
I'm about to ask that too. But keep going.
Yeah, like if somebody catches you saying that or doing it, would it make you feel awkward? And if that's a yes, then maybe what you're doing is wrong. I think that it's you're saying before, like making people laugh is sometimes considered flirting. I think it depends on the nature of like the laughter too. Like, I don't think anybody here tonight was looking to have sex with me in this room. I'm not going to assume anything, but I'm not going to assume anything on anybody. But I'm just gonna, I was just gonna guess it.
Look at Sonny's face.
But again, my point generally is that like if you were worried that that's going to be how you'd be perceived by the person who's your significant other. I think that's where it really comes down to.
No, but that what I mentioned earlier was coming from like nowadays girls will find anything to argue about and stuff like that. It's like why were you making her laugh? Because
I didn't get there yet.
I mean that also comes down to the maturity of the relationship and the people who's in the relationship.
Absolutely,
it's it also comes down to like how some women ask that question of what would you do if tomorrow I turned into a dog.
Oh my!
I've never gotten that.
I never got
I know
any of this because my
exactly what
girlfriend's
he's
kind of
talking
a very
about.
sane person, but it was going all over TikTok. People were talking about this,
What?
or if I was turned into a worm tomorrow, how long would you wait to see if I turn back from a worm? Would you still love me?
Or if I died, how long would you wait to move on or something like that?
Yeah, those
One
kind of
one of those
questions.
questions.
All of them have
Oh
different.
my god!
All of them have different levels.
And
of-
mind you, these type of questions we having during car rides where you just minding your business trying to get to point B.
Yo, I'm not even giving that energy. Said he said,
Yo,
is flirting considered cheating?
hell no, man.
And your reason is why.
Because there's nothing being done. Just glancing, toying around. That's it. Nothing's being done in actuality of considered cheating. And honestly, when it comes to flirting,
So she grabs your booty.
do you know how many girls grab my jock at my job?
You know,
Like,
we're both in the limelight.
and I have yet to bang those girls. Even when I was in a relationship, I never banged the girls.
Well, you going 2 per year anyway. So.
It's 2022.
You do 2 per year. Remember, we did your math already.
It's 2022.
I'm single now, so I can do 2 per year.
Oh shoot! Wait, did you ever close down that deal? My man!
If these girls,
Yes!
if these girls are touching you without your consent, you can speak up.
Wait, do we have a Me Too situation going the other way?
Don't let public opinion and society shame you for that. You can speak
this
up.
is a safe space.
Safe space.
Oh my god, you're really in a bad spot right now, man. Like, yo, really gonna do this right now? Really gonna do this?
I'm just
Listen. I pleaded fifth.
fifth. Smart man.
Fifth.
Did you consent?
Ow! Fifth.
You can blink your eyes. It's okay.
You know?
What? One
We
for
won't
yes,
lie here.
One for yes, 2 for no.
Yeah.
There's no light when you love me.
There you go. One time, wait. There you go.
Well, if you tell everybody, it doesn't help.
Here, there you go. Listen, listen, I say much. I wasn't expecting it. It's happened. All right. This crazy ass white girl straight up just grabbed my child like, no, listen, I know you have 3 kids. I am not trying to be the Mr. Fourth father. No.
So, well, you hear the words?
You want me like a bigger? No, we don't do it. I don't do water.
He said he.
I ain't trying to drink the water no more, man. I'm not thirsty no more. I'm bloody hydrated. I'm good. All right. I don't want to do it. Listen,
Bro, I'm proud of you.
She wants you to visit the
I
backyard and
feel-
plant some seeds, man.
I
That's all.
feel
No,
like
I'm
a
good,
proud
homie.
parent right now. I feel really good.
listen.
I'm so happy for you.
This whole Roe v. Wade situation going right now, I am not trying to drop those seeds. All right.
Bro, relax. Calm. You take it too far, bro. You got what you got.
And I was wearing protection that a smart man would.
Oh, please. Next time you gotta go, you know.
No, we don't do raw dog here, buddy.
Well,
No, we don't do that.
you do
here.
a few times, you know what I'm saying?
No, we don't do that here.
You
I ain't
get
trying-
that skin to
listen.
skin, you be
How many
alright,
people
bro.
I know who are on that 18-year program paying for child support?
Listen,
Yep.
listen.
Yep.
Listen to me. Plan B is not canceled in New York. You're right.
I don't trust these females like that.
Watch her drink it from your face, bro. Make her eat some food too while she's at it.
See,
Spend a couple hours for her.
These are the
Make sure she's
scumbags I
back.
deal with right now. See, these are
Anyways.
scumbags.
I'm proud of you, boy. Relax.
Proud of me, man. I'm older than you. Don't worry
What?
about me.
Who cares?
Did you put hot sauce on the thing?
I did flush it up the toilet.
Oh, that's some
Underrated combination. I'll say that right there.
I said, ain't my problem at this point. Listen, it flushed down. There's no backup. We good, all right?
You know.
all
I'm
right.
gonna say her plumbing system was working really well.
I'm sure you found out what it was about, didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
Bury me. Yeah.
So what's your question? What's your answer to that question?
All right. So for me, is flirting cheating? No. It's just verbal banter for me, and because my follow is like, I don't know. You guys can ask these questions and I'll answer it, but no, I don't consider cheating because it keeps me sharp. So when I come back home and then want to be all like, the words play.
Oh, thanks. You
I'm
know?
still on fleek. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So it's practicing when I
Yeah.
get home. Because, that gift, the gab, but, the wordplay, if you lose it, it's kind of hard to get it back.
Yep.
Sure.
So you got to keep it up.
Now, but if you start chatting and you start touching, then slippery slope.
So actually, I think this comes down to a bigger question. What is flirting? Because like I think that's a bigger question there. Is it touching? Is it just having a conversation?
I guess it depends on the person, because I was going to ask that kind of question afterwards.
Because if it's just having a conversation, dude, I flirt with everybody.
So do I.
Like I'm busy flirting till 3 o'clock in the morning with people I've known for 3 years at this point.
I don't be knowing I'd be flirting.
I mean, if we're touching it, I'm dropping innuendos.
Well, see, I see this man in action.
I'm just trying to get to
this man right here. When he's in action, oh my God, he's a gospel over here. He gets to talk to Eddie. I'm like, well, look at you, debonair man.
Just a little liquor, man. A little liquor mix. Was
it my White Claw?
Nah,
Mr. Stefan R. Kill.
But I know me. If I'm really, if thing is, if I was attracted to you before the liquor hit, oh, best believe if the liquor hits, I'm gonna be man. Yeah.
You know, what's so funny.
Yep.
Anyways,
Gotcha,
yeah. So for me, flirting is not cheating. I don't consider it cheating. Never have. Now, if my girl is in front of me, like upset, no. I actually encourage it. I want a guy like my girl so much that he just so captivated with her. And when she walks to me, the guy that just should not be having a girl like that, and I grab the buns in front of his face, I want you to be upset. I want you to be so angry. You want to fight me, but you can't. Because she's going home with me, my friend. All right? All right? My motto is, if they ain't looking, I don't want her. If no one's trying to flirt with my girl in front of my face, it's a problem.
Wow.
That's just my motto.
We're like a real true savage.
Yeah, I am a savage. Dude, I remember one time. I'm upset. I remember one time, true story. You can ask old girl. We went out. We go to the bodega store, and I see old boy staring her down. And I said, yo, bro, who's that girl right there? He's like, I don't know, yo. I said, yo, she's bad, yo. I'm going to try to talk to her for a second. Give me a second.
Good luck.
Boy, I walked up over and I pounded a little booty. He was like,
she lined me up.
Sorry. Line me up, bro. I said, I don't know, man. She's one woman man, bro. But good luck.
And that's a hell of a troll if the guy's talking to you and be like, oh, yeah, go ahead, shoot your shot.
Shoot your shot.
You know?
Good luck.
What happened? She turned you down? Damn, that's crazy. Let me try.
Well, she's got a boyfriend? Oh, yeah, that's me.
Yeah, yo, I've done that. And dudes look at me like, what's wrong with you? Nah, bro, I need you to look. Just know that I got it. Mine. It's mine. Or like better yet, when if I go out to like functions with friends of mine, and dudes think the girls I'm hanging out with are my girl, and the hate in their eyes. You've seen Miss Lottie Dottie before. Dudes be like,
very attractive woman.
I'm like, nah, it's just my right hand. But yeah, I'm like, nah, for real, ask her.
See, that's why women are. That's why there's a legitimate case to say women are the best wingmen.
Yes, they are.
Wing woman.
Women make, if you're a guy and you're going out to eat or out and about and you have a beautiful lady on your side, they're gonna want you.
Yep.
Yeah, that adds up.
Yeah. They're gonna want you. The females, because then they're gonna be like, what does he have? Especially, look at me. I'm not pretty. I know I'm not pretty.
Hey! Don't talk yourself down.
I still get some. I still get them if I want to, but I choose not to.
You're a very pretty man. I think there are plenty of people who would like that face.
You foxy.
Stop kissing ass.
Yeah, man, I'll accept you. All right, Seti said, man, give me your handle, bro.
We're only according to Seti Rudy on Fanbase, Seti Rudy 55 on Seti 55 on Instagram, and Seti Rudy on Twitter.
On what?
I am _WAL 4Ts on the IG, and Noir Kaiser 45. Yeah, that's me.
And Brojo Death Punch.
Yes, you can find me at BROJO. Death is in the end of life. Punch like a delicious drink you drink in the summer. Pretty much on all platforms. Instagram, Twitter. If you like to play Fortnite, you can get my gamer tag as well.
You still play Fortnite?
Dude, that's I only recently really kind of got into it last couple of years. My friend moved down to Tom's River. It's the only way I could talk to him anyway. So,
so you're the ones building the
No, I'm not a good builder. Like I'm not like building is hard. They got a new build mode. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm on all those platforms, and then I have like other things that I do. Punk Law 101.
Talk on your podcast, bro. Talk all up.
Draft Vice is kind of like my thing that I do. Is Draft Vice and Punk Law are what I just call my thoughts on football and law. That's what I'll put like as my tag to the video. Is Punk Law is usually anything that has to do with law. Draft Vice is any of the stuff doing with football, and sometimes they cross over, like the DeShaun Watson case, which we didn't get to here tonight. I'm also on Face Off with Face Meyer every Thursday, and I'm also on Let's Talk Sports, which is a bigger network that like is kind of growing on the. I don't know what he's doing. Dude out of the UK, Dan Harris, started like a year ago.
Shout out to him.
I do Fridays. I usually do a show with him every Friday about like 5:30. So you can check that out. It's on the Roku now. I don't know if anybody has Roku or heard of Roku.
Roku's right. I have the Roku TV right here.
So it's on the Roku somewhere. I've never tried to test it out.
I'm gonna test it out.
Yeah, it's somewhere on there. I'm on there on. I don't know when it gets uploaded or any of that stuff. But yeah, other than that, that's generally it that I do. I think I'm on TikTok also as Brojo Death Punch and Draft Vice.
Yeah,
we were actually live streaming from the Draft Vice until for some reason it took us off and said it was hate speech.
Sorry.
How?
I am appealing. I object, Mr. TikTok or Miss TikTok, whoever runs this company. And
Chinese.
Yeah, but I post videos there on and off habitually for each one. Usually it's a rotation. Usually I do one TikTok and then do the other TikTok for a couple of weeks. But other than that, thanks for having me on. It's always fun hanging with you.
Quick. I just need a couple words. Watson's case. What do you think? How many games does Watson get, and what do you think?
You want a couple words on something I've been covering for the last year of my life?
Here's my thing, right?
That affected a team that I was a fan of, and then I'm like, now I'm watching all that one.
Here's my thing. Does the NFLPA have any merit to stand on in terms of what happened to?
You mean it's disputing it?
Yeah.
Okay.
With Kraft and
that's an interesting.
Irsay and with Schneider. We didn't get to Schneider either, unfortunately, today.
Snyder's actually probably their strongest argument, but Kraft no, because Kraft there was no allegations of SA involved in anything dealing with those massages. I understand what they're trying to go for. You didn't punish the owners as much as you're punishing the players. Snyder's their best argument, but Snyder got fined $10 million and allegedly has been taking a year off from the team. Plus, they're reinvestigating him for another SA allegation that came out in the February roundtable that happened.
Those SA sexual assault.
Yeah. I'm so used to saying it on TikTok, trying to avoid getting shadow banned on those websites. But yeah, it's the SA allegation regarding another SA. There was, I think, two. One that allegedly was settled in 2009, and then there was another one. The issue with Snyder, though, is that all of his conduct was stuff that went back 15 years. There's not one that happened more recently.
Okay.
I think that's going to be a point of contention for the NFL versus DeShaun Watson, whereas all DeShaun Watson stuff came out in the last 2 years.
Yeah.
And it's all allegations. And again, his allegations are a little bit more than a lot of the other ones. Jerry Jones, the thing that they want to compare to Jerry Jones is a little different because it's not Jerry Jones's conduct. It's the conduct of somebody who worked in the organization who no longer works there anymore, I believe.
What happened to Jerry Jones? I thought the one was with a illegitimate child he had.
Oh, that wasn't what I thought you were talking about. No, the issue with Jerry Jones was that they settled a case regarding one of their VPs apparently kind of doing something not so nice.
Was
basically
it the peeping Tom?
Yeah, the peeping Tom one.
We spoke about that on the podcast, guys.
So that's what Jerry Jones. But Jerry Jones is not the peeping Tom.
No.
That.
It was the associate of his.
So, like I said, Snyder's the more similar case. That would be their strongest argument. But again, a lot of the stuff with Snyder's going back. You almost have to go back 10 years for most of the Snyder stuff. I don't know what the new. I can't remember off the top of my head the dates for the new SA allegation. It still was not very recent, and that's going to be the problem with a lot of that. But we will get more information on that. I still think the Snyder case has its own issues that people do want to pay attention to, like the fact there is no report on it, even though there was initially an expected report that we're finding out about. I mean, that could be a whole hour podcast on its own, is the Snyder stuff. Just between Roger Goodell and the House Oversight Committee last week, that was a 2.5 hour, back and forth that went into weird details because you had the Republicans who felt like it shouldn't even be before them, and you had the Democrats who were actually interested in trying to figure out what happened with the report and why there wasn't a report and all the conduct that existed, and comparing it to the Miami Dolphins case that happened in 2014 where they did have a report. So Snyder is the closest argument for them. The problem is there's not a direct comparison to an owner to a player, even though you're saying that, yes, there's words in the CBA saying that owners are supposed to be held to a higher standard, but owners are also not a party to the CBA. So it's a different standard, but the reason why it's a different standard is because they're not parties to the CBA. It's a different group of people. Also, what are you suspending an owner for? Like, you can suspend an owner from being part of the thing of like what happened with Snyder is supposedly Snyder is not involved with the inner runnings of the organization. Yeah, the day-to-day of the organization. His wife is. Don't know how like legitimate that argument is either. But they did fine him $10 million, which is really the majority of what you're really looking at there is the monetary aspect, because that's what's going to be the issue.
They should take draft picks too.
Oh, I would easily be persuaded by the argument that Snyder shouldn't be an owner in the NFL. I would be happy if they kicked him out.
Yes,
but we talked about it before. You need 24 owners to agree to kick him out, and owners are going to be more leaning against kicking somebody out than keeping them, mainly because they don't want it happening to them when there's something that comes up down the line.
Listen, owners, he stole money from you. What more do you want?
Well, we don't. Okay, so that's the thing that never came up in the House Oversight Committee, which I'm very curious about. I haven't looked over they had deposed the COO of the Washington football team. I still call them the football team because I prefer that over the Commanders and over the other name that they used to go by.
Oh, you mean the team he swore he wasn't going to change?
The name?
Washington shirt skins?
I prefer Washington football team just because, or actually, like, I don't even mind I'll get used to the commies. I'm so used to saying Washington football team.
You call them the commies?
That's what everybody's been calling them, right? Isn't that the new thing? Is calling them the commies?
The commies?
I mean, listen, before they called it the Washington football team, I was calling them the McSnyders because I wasn't going to use the other name.
Oh, man. Listen, it's funny that you go from the people that they were oppressed to the people that oppresses the people that was oppressed.
Oh, man.
Yeah. How you should have went for the Red Tails, man.
I thought that would have been a good one. I think part of that was just because there were a lot of trademark trolls going on with that, and that was causing them issues with figuring out a new name. But there had to have been a better name than the Commanders, which sounds like a franchise team in like Madden.
Yep.
So I don't know. That one kind of always was.
So arena football.
You think he's getting what, 8 games?
Oh, Watson. I think Watson's getting a year.
A year?
I think it's a year minimum, and he's at risk for an indefinite. They're not going to give him 2 years. It's either going to be 1 year or an indefinite with a year minimum. That is probably going to be what they're going to shoot for with the NFL.
I think you should give him eight games. I don't like. I understand the whole. It's creepy what he did, but I guess but
the team knew about it, so it's like they got.
That's another.
Well,
thing
that's coming out. They just filed a lawsuit today, Tony Busby against the Houston Texans. I keep on saying Washington football team because I'm so used to saying Washington football team.
How crazy is that? Like, think about this now. You had a team that was in on this thing too.
I'm not surprised. It's the NFL. They know that killing people and raping people and beating up the kids, and they let them, and they do everything they can to keep their raps, and they let them play in the field. But God forbid you kneel for the to fight for oppression and all that stuff, and you get blacklisted from the NFL.
Oh man!
Meanwhile, there's actual murderers playing NFL. Allegedly.
Leave Ray Lewis alone.
Allegedly.
Also, after that whole kneeling thing, the ratings never really went down.
No.
So it didn't really matter.
Yeah.
Like, and not for nothing, like, I think it drew attention to things that were going on.
Yeah.
Quick note on that, though, with the 8 games versus a year versus that.
Should be a year, though, I think.
Roethlisberger got, what was it? Was it 6 games that was reduced to 4, but that was for 2 allegations. Yeah. Kareem Hunt got 8 games for 1 allegation of assault.
He assaulted the girl inside on the camera.
But he was never charged.
No, but he never should have struck that girl on the camera.
Yeah, well, okay, so there's video. That's what we learned. Video over. But then there was what was it? Zeke Elliott got 8 games.
Well, he put a titty out.
But it's 1 allegation. He had 1 allegation of doing something, and that's all we had was 1 allegation. He got 8 games, and there was no criminal charges in that case either.
So now because you have 24, you're like a year.
Well, I think that's why it's hard to figure out because there's no precedent for what's going on with DeShaun Watson. It's there's criminal complaints, but he didn't get indicted. There's 24 civil complaints. There's conduct that kind of shows that he was kind of being at minimum creepy. Now, even if you take out the couple of the worst ones, because there might be some disputes as to the worst ones, it still looks like he was. Like, when you look at some of his conduct, it was clear that at minimum he was doing something kind of creepy.
Yeah.
That probably would have been in line with something along like it depends on what state you'd be in. In New Jersey, I think what he would have, or New York, it would have been sexual assault. In Texas, I don't think any of what the allegations were, aside from like maybe one or two, would have been sexual assault. They would have been indecent assault, which is a misdemeanor, which didn't require a grand jury indictment, which is why there's a big question in my head as to why they even went to a grand jury if you didn't need the grand jury indictment to begin with. Other than the prosecutor did not want to have to go up against Rusty Hardin, who is like the most famous lawyer in all of Texas. Like they did not want to deal with Rusty Hardin and his dream team legal team that he would have came in there with and fought all these stupid misdemeanor cases on. That was really what it sounded like.
And would have billable hours for the prosecutor.
Well, I mean, prosecutors don't get billable hours; they get a flat fee. But again, it's all about making. Remember earlier we were talking about making your life easier.
Yeah.
Prosecutors are used to bullying pro se defendants. Prosecutors are used to bullying public defenders. They're not used to dealing with multi-millionaire funded attorneys and trying to fight them over a stupid misdemeanor. They don't want to do that. And DeShaun Watson's gotten even more. And DeShaun Watson had a $100 million deal that went to a $230 million fully guaranteed deal.
Yeah.
Nobody wanted to fight that case. Doesn't matter.
That was one thing I was actually, because of what the stuff going on, I'm sorry, I'm wrapping this up. Was he in jeopardy of violating that contract?
Of
with
what?
The Browns?
No. Oh, no. The Browns bent over and gave him the whole glory hole.
Woo!
Oh, no. Any new allegation for stuff that happened previous to him signing that contract does not affect that contract at all.
Man, I love it.
At all.
And
Hang
it's
on.
all
It gets
guaranteed,
yes,
Walter.
all 5 years are guaranteed.
Walter, it's all guaranteed.
It's the only
money.
NFL contract that's like it.
You keep the money.
Well, these owners are going to be pissed.
Well, yeah, the rest of the owners are pissed.
Yeah, because now they're looking at Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, everybody else
at-
who's got a quarterback is looking
Yeah.
at it going like, what the hell?
He got $23 million and he's a rapist.
Well, again, I don't think
I'm saying that
it might
rapist.
not be that hard, but
Creepy guy.
he's at minimum creepy.
creepist. He's a creepist.
He's at minimum a creepy
Dude,
dude.
when I saw him with Mina Khan's in the
He's a
apartment,
creepist. You
I was
guys
like,
make it
what
sound
do-
like a hobby.
What do you do
He's a
with her in your
creepist.
apartment, bro?
Man, think about it like this. He met with 60 at minimum 66 massage therapists in
Yeah.
17 months.
Ooh,
I don't know what your hobby is that you are doing that.
That means that's 3 girls a month, roughly.
But like, and then a lot of
need
them were
help.
not qualified, and that was my big problem when I started looking through because I read through a lot of the petitions on this case. And if you start doing a timeline on when he started meeting these people, it started out where they were very qualified.
No, that's not. No, that's like at least 5 in a month.
It's like
so
once.
times
It's one.
60.
It's at least
The
one a
once a
week
week,
for 17
yeah.
months, basically.
Whoa!
Yeah.
Damn.
Christ.
How many different tuck jobs do you want?
But what Watson, the thing that bothers me about it is if you take out even the worst conduct that he did, right?
Yeah.
If you take out like the allegations of like sexual assault and you're just going off of like him touching women with his penis, him flashing them, him ejaculating on them, and you just go with those cases, right? Of like, and you look at the timeline, it went from very professional, like trained women that were massage therapists to not so trained, to people who aren't even licensed, to people who are, and the amount of times he met with them changed. It went from I'm meeting you once and trying to like see if you touch my penis to I'm meeting with you multiple times, scoping out an area, it bringing you in from Atlanta, Georgia to Texas, trying to get you into positions where it might be a little bit more like not great. And it's kind of a sad situation because he kind of, again, like I just didn't, like I said, I think if you take out the worst cases on there, you kind of get an idea of what was going on.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate and it's sad,
It
but
likes
it's
wiki whacked. What can I say?
yeah, it was hey, you know, I think these women might be into this
Yeah.
and but like
Bop
not
it.
understanding the also
Pull
don't
it.
also like
Twist it.
yeah, pop it. Yeah, he wanted them to play with his tallywhacker, and they did. And I think that they were like, "Yo, I'm here to give you a massage, and you want me to play with your junk? That's not how this rolls, buddy." And it just kept on. I think he's like, "Okay, maybe regular massage therapists aren't into
Was
this."
trying to
but-
get a tip?
yeah, and like I'm sure in his head he didn't do anything wrong.
No.
And that's why he's still standing by that.
Yeah.
But I think when you take it from the point of view of this is somebody else's job, right? And they're coming to do their job, and they're not
trained or qualified,
trained or ready for this, and then all of a sudden somebody's taking, oh, I don't want to use the draping, I want to use a small towel, and then he kicks off the towel, and then he's trying to touch him with the penis and trying to get him to touch the penis. All right, you're painting a picture of what I see kind of going on here.
My man watches too much Pornhub.
Kind of, yeah. It seems like somebody told him this is what you're allowed to do with a massage therapist, and nobody told him, DeShaun, no. Go see a hooker, DeShaun.
Hello.
Make sure they're okay with it.
Do you know how many girls I know that did that for you for the cheat, and you've been very satisfied?
And there might be a few of them that maybe did. There might, but it was not all 24 or 25 or nearly, at this point, nearly 30, because there's 24 civil cases that were filed. There were 2 more that were pending to be filed. There was also 3 more that spoke to the New York Times that spoke to Jenny Varentes on the cases of anonymity who did not file any civil cases.
27 women.
And then there were 2 more who filed criminal complaints
30.
that didn't file civil
29.
lawsuits. We're in the realm of that there's between 20 and 30. We are 25 and 30, and maybe more than 30. That's the issue right now with that and it's very possible that some of them are just made up, or some of them are trying to use this to their advantage, but not all of them.
Yeah. No.
And that's what I think is the issue. And that's what I think you see. That's why looking at the fact pattern, I think, is important, which is why I didn't think it helped DeShaun Watson's case either, that nobody knew all the individual instances of these cases. I think it helps DeShaun Watson that somebody looks at these and goes, oh, wait, maybe the more egregious ones are maybe a little out there compared to the other conduct that's alleged. And then, but when you also look at the conduct that's alleged, that there's clearly something creepy that was going on. So yeah.
Listen. I'm just here for massage, but listen, there are incentives too. I mean, it's up to you. you know.
Well, that is a thing.
Want a tip?
Well, and his attorney going around saying happy endings aren't illegal if you don't pay extra for them didn't really help him either. Especially when the early argument was he never had sex with any of these women. Then he admits to having sex with some of these women. Then he admits that, like, then your attorney's running around telling people that, like, it's not illegal to get a happy ending if you don't pay for it. Like, it all kind of starts becoming a lot.
Dig the hole, my friend. Dig a hole.
Yeah. Also, it doesn't help when your attorney's running around making public comments for you.
No.
Like, especially like that. Like, we learned that with...
Shut up.
We learned that literally 2 weeks ago with Amber Heard's attorney running around saying stuff on TV.
We would have learned from that.
Yeah, like...
Over. Anyways, guys, this is DJ Intense. Follow my page at DJINTENCE. On TikTok, put a dot between the DJ Intense. And follow the podcast page at On The Record Podcast. Make sure you follow Draft Fights. I put the description, and I put his page on the description and his Punk Law page too, all right? See you guys next week.
Deuces.
Peace.
Bye.
DJ Intense with the 4th and final songs of the episode. Hailing from Brooklyn, New York, it is Mel Vibes with a single called Application. Remember where you heard it first, live at On The Record Podcast. And shout out to all those for tuning in and keeping this podcast going. Man, we greatly appreciate it, man. Thank you, and see you guys next week.
Mel Vibe.
Wind up, show them off, right.
Look how she bubbling. This application make all the girls them wine non-stop. This application even your granny have to go to one drop. You better wine, girl, part-time girl. Wine the body, take the club on fire. Every man I watch, y'all sing it back. Girl from Trinidad, them a go and bash. Girl from GT, they want see me. Girl from Jam Down, them want come round. Girl from Haiti, them a me shame. Girl from Panama, they want the banana. The Asian girl, them I got problem. African girl, I say the standard. Anita stress me, text me phone number, you better text me. Look how that girl a wine, like she never smile. Money pull up, you have to pay that song back one more time. All of me scam my friends, them a money to spend. And them a make the girl, them go and bad again. Girl wine and go down low, bend down and touch your toe. Whoa.
When you are brace up on the hard steel, how does it feel? Man a handyman and me walk with me drill. I want to know if I saw you go on when me day in your hole. But like a stripper when you slide on me pole. Them you kinda when I coulda take a man's soul.
Now when you make your wind up, wind up, wind up, wind up, wind, 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 wind. You don't have to wind up, wind up, wind up. Now judge at the side, 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 side. See me like a climb up, climb up, climb up. Show them off, right, 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 right. Now when you make your wind up, wind up, wind up, wind up.
This application make all the girls them wine non-stop. This application even your granny have people to one drop. You better wine girl, fun time girl. Wine somebody take the club on fire. Every man I watch, y'all sing it back.